Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Gaurahari. Oh, Nitai Gaurango. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, welcome all of you in the concluding session. So we would like to discuss what we discussed yesterday. So if everybody can participate about the learnings from yesterday. Do we have a mic?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we learned about the 4 ecosystems.
Yes.
Solar energy, water cycle, mineral cycle, and community dynamics.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? The key learnings from yesterday?
So to manage the temperature, we have to cover the soil with the plants, and the plant is a endothermic reaction, so that it's a cooling effect.
Yes. So plants are very much necessary, and the soil should be always covered. Anything else?
So soil is like a bank account, so that has to be replenished. Whatever is taken from it has to be given back.
Yeah, so soil is like a bank account, and we like the bank balance to keep increasing, so we should be always depositing more and withdrawing less from Mother Earth.
Prabhu, we learned these 4 basic things we need to process the work of for all ecosystem, like real milk, real grain, real vegetables, fruits, and real water.
Yeah, so unless and until the 4 ecosystem processes are functioning on our landscapes or on the farm projects, we can't get real milk, real grain, real food, real vegetable. So it is most important that these 4 ecosystems are functioning. Thank you. Yes? here.
Hare Krishna, tilling and monocropping is destroying Mother Earth, and we all are under hidden hunger of nutritions.
Yes, thank
We
you very
think
much.
we are eating well, but we are not.
Yes. So tilling is a big problem. Tilling and monocropping and the hidden hunger.
Hare Krishna. One interesting thing I learned yesterday was like the calf need to be with mother cow not just for milk but for many other aspects also, like she licks the calf, she teaches the calf many things, and slowly he'll learn to eat grass also along with the mother.
Yeah. So the social aspect
Social
of the
aspect.
cow and the calf is missing. That is why this is viewed as a big problem, and if we don't solve it, we cannot make our project sustainable. Thank you.
Prabhu, yesterday we learned from the community dynamics that we should not burn the plant, basically. So the sunlight, air, water is free. So we should understand that our community dynamics.
Right. Yes, yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, and you also made this really, really crucial point that we should try to give up eating foods that have been mass-produced and that have been artificially produced,
Right.
because it impacts on our consciousness very much.
Yes, yes, it's a very important point. So any food which is not coming from the proper source, if we keep consuming that, it certainly impacts our consciousness. So we need farm communities because we can't avoid eating. So the solution is to start farm projects. And I can also anybody else want to speak, or I can just conclude. Yeah. So in the first 2 days, in nutshell, we have understood that any problem that exists today is because of a wrong decision taken. So we have to rectify our decision. We have to view the resources for performing its functions and not just for the utility. So yesterday there was a question about utilizing these 4 principles of decision making. So I was just thinking, because I was not satisfied with the answer I gave. So I could make a correction that these all 4 should be applied simultaneously. They are not one after the other. So this is what is the tool to check whether we are going correct direction or wrong direction. They all 4 should be considered simultaneously in decision making. So that will make the things better, because right now there are environmentalists, so just think about an environment, the social life or the financial aspect or the spiritual aspect is not considered. If we are sometimes religious institutions are talking about religiosity, spiritualism, but they ignore the environmental aspect. So the important thing is to consider it all simultaneously. So that is the main thing. And regarding the question regarding the cows, which are foreign breeds, we were using the word Jersey. So Jersey is a very good breed, there is no doubt about it. And so the principle is not A2 or A1 or the milk from this cow is poisonous and Deshi cows are better. So Deshi cows local to your land, that is called Deshi cow. Deshi cow doesn't mean the cow with the hump. Hump as a function, that is why the hump is given. So in the cold regions, hump has no purpose because there is very less sunlight. So the cows don't have sun. That does not mean they are not cows. But it's a false propaganda that Jersey is not a cow, and it is not about genetics. What was discussed yesterday was highlighting on genetics, that there is some genetically mix has happened and a new species created. But recently it has been found that the kidney of pig can be transplanted into human, and there are humans living with this transplantation, no problem. So genetics is not that important to decide whether the species is a human or a pig or a cow. What is important is epigenetic. What is the environment, how that particular person or a species is treated. So if the cow is treated, not abused, taken care of properly, living with the land, living with the calf, then and only then the milk we will get is nectar. Otherwise, may what come. Whatever researches have been done, if it is increasing the exploitation of the cows, it will not give you healthy milk. So our context is not just to get healthy milk, but our context is giving a good lifestyle to all the species on this planet. That is what we have written in our context. We have read this context, we are reading every day, we will read today also. So we have ignored environment in totality in all our decisions taken in the past. Maybe a segment of class is thinking about it. So till in last 2 days, most of the discussion was about how to heal Mother Earth, because it is impacting the whole world. May you call it climatic change, global warming, scarcity of food, malnutrition, diseases, give whatever name you want, whatever symptoms you want to talk about. The root cause is exploitation of the soil. There is soil erosion, desertification, soil is bare everywhere, so we see floods, so we see droughts. So the ecosystem process is just ensuring to reverse this system. The moment the soil is covered, the whole environmental imbalance will be getting corrected. It will start, the process will start. So this is what we have understood. Now today, and another part we understood yesterday was the importance of connecting the cow and calf, because otherwise we don't get health. Because we will see today, because if the cows are not moving on the land, how will the fertility come on the soil? So right now what we see today is dung-based farming, not cow-based farming. We want cows to be in the center of our project, not dung and urine of cows. Otherwise another abuse will come up. We will keep cows to collect dung and urine. But that won't make the cows happy. That won't solve our context. We won't achieve our context where we are writing that all the species will be given an opportunity to perform their function. So functions of cows and bulls is to graze. So we have to shift this mindset from dung-based farming to cow-based farming. So that we will be understanding how grazing the cows regenerates the soil. How cow is the mother of all the species. So this is what we are going to see today, and then in the end we will take how we can start the project. Practical implementation of our learnings. So we want stable families. I think you all have read this, you know it, so we will move ahead from here. Vedic paradigm, Om Purnamada. So we have to change this mindset that this planet is imperfect. We have to change this mindset that something is lacking here. It is incomplete. This is what general understanding of all people in general is there. But actually it is perfect. The creation is perfect. Our management has made it look imperfect. Our imperfect knowledge about the complete whole is creating all the problem. So these are the highlights. The more you grow, the more resources it generates. Increasing population doesn't deplete the resources. The resources are available at the site. No difference between farm and farmer. Technology is important, but biodiversity is much more powerful for creating a future we want. So now we know what is biodiversity. We need diversity of plants, we need diversity of birds, we need diversity of microbes. But today, when we talk diversity on the farmland, we just talk about some species of plants which we want to consume. So our definition of diversity is very small. But here when we talk diversity, it includes all the species. That is what we mean about diversity. Nature is self-organizing and relentless. There are no parts in nature. Thinking in whole is critical to making better decisions. Only a conscious human being shall have the skill to manage complexity in our ecosystem. So anthropocentric, human doing and human being. So all our decisions are to be reconsidered. We have to consider all the species. Otherwise there will be unintended consequences. contextual management of cows. So we start our topic today. Cows should be managed in such a way that they get free access to water, fodder. Fodder is defined. Mother Nature has designed cows to thrive on grass and grass alone. So her natural food is grass, not anything else. Mobility, she can't be confined, and companion. She has a social life. We can't be keeping her restricted, separating from the family, separating from the calf. So these are the principles we want to apply when we manage the cows. Now, herbivorous. So cow is an herbivorous animal which puts on mass by consuming plants. Their diet are composed primarily of plant material. So we see this, we are feeding dry feeds or green grass, but there are more to it now, but it is not natural to cows. So how much a cow eats in a day? So they typically spend more than 1/3 of their time, meaning thereby 8 hours out of 24 hours, grazing. So she can eat 8 hours a day. 1/3 of their time ruminating, and slightly less than 1/3 of their time idling, where they are neither grazing nor ruminating. In other words, sleeping, taking rest, things like that. So if you see a cow, she has 4 legs which are very small, a tail and a mouth, but a huge stomach. So she is physiologically designed to eat more. She is designed to recycle the biomass growing on the landscapes. Otherwise, we have to invent tools and technology to manage the grass growing on the land. So that is why we were discussing from the day one that the function of cows and bulls is to graze. If they are not grazing, they are useless. They will become burden on the society. It will be not sustainable for us. And this is how they remain healthy, because the whole purpose is to give them happy, give them pleasure. They should be happy doing what they are. They should have liberty to do what they are designed for. So this is their capacity. They can graze 8 hours a day. Gut feel and skin coat. So you can see in the picture on the left, you can see a triangle where there is a mark. This shows that she is hungry. So if you see in any cow on the left side top, if the triangle is visible, that means you don't have to ask anybody, she is hungry. Or the bull is hungry. Or the calf is hungry. So on the right side you see, you can't see the triangle. That means she is okay. She had her food nicely today. She has grazed enough. And the skin is always tight and shiny. If you see hairy coat, that means it is sign of undernourishment. They are not taken care of properly. Malnutrition is visible when you see hairy coat on them. Pasture feeding. Cows are self-feeders. By grazing, they are working for us through the process of animal impact. So this is how we should view. When cows are grazing, we should not think that they are trampling the grass, they are eating too much. Actually, they are working for improving the soil in other way. Because once they eat, they will put down dung and urine. And they are recycling the biomass. So, giving space for the grass to grow again photosynthesis will start. For example, if the grass has fully grown and then it starts decomposing, oxidation will happen and it will again damage the soil. This is what has happened globally. Ecologists thought because these animals are grazing, so deserts are getting created. So they kept huge piece of land, not allowing any animals to graze there. Still the land be converted into deserts. Because by natural process, the grass is going to die. It won't stay there forever, so the process of photosynthesis will stop. And once it stops, you know what happens, bare soil. So they ensure, these herbivorous animals ensures whatever grows, they keep grazing and recycling it, putting back dung and urine, this process goes on. Otherwise, who will recycle this grass growing? We are burning. Right now what technology we are using is fire. But again the soil life will go away. We are using tractor to plow it in. Again the soil life is going away. So now we have understood that it is not soil, it is soil life that is important for us to sustain this planet. So any decision that disturbs that soil life is detrimental to our future. Cows or the herbivores ensure that the soil life is not disturbed. And when they eat the grass, again it starts thriving to grow and the photosynthesis kickstarts because they don't uproot. They know that they should not uproot. Only when they are confined to an area and they are hungry, they will overgraze. So they have to be continuously kept moving. They can't be standing at a place, otherwise they will overgraze because they are hungry, what they will do. So cows are self-feeders. By grazing they are working for us through the process of animal impact. Animal impact will be discussed in further today. One who keeps cows at home to feed even after hearing the morning mantra path suffers in life. Function of grazing is their utility. If they are not grazing, they can become a liability. So this is what we are seeing. Now, any project to sustain cows needs a lot of donations. So people are discouraged to maintain cows because everybody is not good enough to maintain cows, collecting funds or contributing his own funds. So the system itself is stating that it is not viable. There has to be something else. So the rectification is needed in the decision taken to keep them in confinement. But our mindsets, monkey paradigm says us, no, from where will we get land? No, who will graze the cows? But if you are not doing that, then sorry, the soil regeneration will not start. The soil life will not come back. So it is very important to connect cows and land. Cows herself indicates the time for her to go back to her home for help from her master. These are all from Atharva Ved. As long as the cows like to feed in pastures, they represent community assets. When cows want to retreat from pastures, they indicate it by many signs. So one who will be grazing will understand this. Yesterday we saw this. They have 4 stomach, rumen, omasum, abomasum and reticulum. So when she eats grass, it is processed from one stomach to other and then finally it goes out. This is interesting. What can you see here? They don't have upper teeth. They do not have upper front teeth. No ruminant have upper front teeth. Now there is a reason for this. It is not by chance this has happened. Most of us would be listening this first time, right? That cows don't have upper teeth. So there is a reason for this. It is located. What do cows need to survive? So we are understanding now what is the need of cow to survive or to live a healthy life. It is located on the tip of plant's energy. So when she is grazing, we will see a video of grazing. They will prefer to eat the upper part of the grass, not the lower part. I mean, if they are getting the upper part, then they will move to the next grass, They will never go till the bottom. Never. That is why cattle graze the tips. They are biologically designed to perform optimally by consuming the upper 1/3 to upper 1/2 of the grass. So meaning thereby, if the grass is 3 feet, she will graze up to 1.5 feet maximum. So she is ensuring that the soil is not uncovered. The process of photosynthesis is not stopped. So the microbial activities are not disturbed. When their movement is restricted in pastures, they then go to the remaining part of the plant. So this is the job of a cowherd boy. Keep moving the cows. He will be observing how much they have grazed, and once they have grazed the top 50%, give them another flesh plot. Further on, if there is no access to new tips, they again feed on the same grass, which leads to overgrazing of the plant and reduction in health of the cow. So overgrazing will reduce her health because the lower part is not that nutrient, and second thing is the soil is also becoming bare. So we are losing on both sides. A ruminant uses its mouth and tongue to harvest forage during grazing or to consume harvested feedstuff. So she uses tongue to pluck the grass, so she don't have the upper jaw. Saliva is added to the forage to help in digestion and swallowing. The saliva contains enzymes that break down some of the fats and starches. It also helps to buffer the pH of rumen. So this is some information for us what she does when she is grazing. The best part of grass preferred by rumen microbes is from belly height to knee height. So they will not go after that. And this is talking about the rumen microbes. This is very, very important point. So when they are feeding the microbes in their stomach. Similarly, when we eat, we are also doing the same thing. So if we are taking antibiotic, so we are killing the microbes in the stomach. So that is detrimental to our health. But it is very common understanding now. Microbes, bacteria, germs are viewed as something which are unwanted. More than 30 centimeter height for grass, that is minimum is 30 centimeter is what? Around a feet, right? This is less. Generally we see this. Whenever you will see cows moving, they will be on land which has only this much grass grown. It is already exposed to sun, and they are making it more. So then we come to a conclusion that because of the cows grazing on the land become deserted. This is how we came to this conclusion. But the reason is our poor management in grazing. That is the main reason. We can't blame the cows for that. If livestock are continually allowed to restrict grass growth, so if the grass is growing but they are going again and again there, that is photosynthesis, then carbon levels in the soil falls. Soils will low carbon levels produce less grass than soils with higher levels, and it is also of lower quality. So overall we are depleting the carbon deposited in the soil if the soil is uncovered. This is example of preferential grazing. Good grass has grown here, but they are grazing scattered. This is also not ideal. We don't want this. Count the bites. So this is a video.
Came into this paddock.
Just see how she is grazing. The tongue will come out. She will touch the grass and pluck it by shaking the neck.
She's not even lowering her head down in the grass.
And continuously they are doing. Because this is the time to eat, not to ruminate.
So we're leaving it.
And she's moving slowly. When she's eating the upper tip, she's keep moving.
Something about that cow. You see any flies on her? Look at her a little closer. There's no
So
flies
this
on
cow
that
does not have a hump.
We are in
Doesn't
flies.
mean that this is not a cow.
Things are just lousy on other people's cattle, but these slick-hided South Poles, you just don't see any flies.
See,
on
the tail is not moving.
The flies don't like oily surfaces.
Very little time she will move the tail because it is a healthy landscape. So there are no
go out and grab that grass.
mosquitoes to disturb us.
Kentucky 31.
So this is also a mindset. These mosquitoes are always there to disturb us. Only and only when there is garbage, they will come. In a clean environment, they will never come.
That coming in the fall, and by God, these cattle like
See, the
that.
tail is
Got a little
peaceful.
fall panikin,
No problem.
some orchard grass in here.
Otherwise, they have to continuously keep working, removing the flies, this, that, continuously going on.
I mean, she's grazing just as fast as her mouth will move. That's a grazing
She's very
machine.
busy.
So this is
Not
this
for
would
a
be
moment she can stop.
2017 heifer, so she's a year old. And everybody talks about, oh, take your yearling heifers and put them
See
on
the
grain
skin
and
coat,
flush them. And
very shiny. So this is the grazing scenario. The cow grazed the tips of elephant grass. This is a field where the cows were grazed. If you are not grazing them, then you need these machines. lot of energy is needed, electricity is needed. You have to go to factory to buy this, then you need laborers to cut the grass from the field, bring it here on the tractor. You need diesel for that, and then you have to do all this work and then feed. This you can read. It is about rumination. What grasslands need. So now what the land needs. Massive stomach. So these herbivores like cows, buffaloes, they have massive stomachs. Without animal digestion, there is no real soil because they are recycling the whole thing that is growing. And without soil, there is no future. So this animal impact is where this is showing that if they are fed grains, they cannot digest it. This is stomach of the cow. All the undigested grain is visible here. They cannot digest grain. If you feed them grain, it will just come out as it is. Because their system is not designed to, how will they break the grain? They don't have teeth. It's not possible, right? Feeding the human microbes, as we already discussed, if the cow eats feed that are human bacteria utilized, the population will grow. So we want to grow the population of microbes, like in the soil, like in the human, in the stomach. That makes the thing healthy. And the population will never grow which will cause disease in the natural system. Only when we are in an artificial system, it creates problem. So as the population grows, the cow can digest more of the food she eats. That is the advantage of increasing the number of population of microbes. And if a cow doesn't eat what her human bacteria utilize, the microorganisms die. So today we see the cows are mostly diseased themselves. Because what we are feeding them is artificial cattle feed in an artificial environment. So they are becoming weaker physically. This is why cattle raisers say that they feed human bugs, not the animal. What human is to cow, soil is to the plant. So now we really understand the relation of soil and plant. Same relation the human and the cow has. This is showing again the same population. It's a huge population. So visible cleanliness and microbial diversity ensures healthy living. We want visible cleanliness. Now this hand is clean. I don't need to make it germ free by using something, right? So visible cleanliness is enough. Because we need microbial diversity for healthy living. Biodiverse fodder should be the goal. So in our any system we see today, the same fodder is fed every single day, which is not good for their health. So biodiversity will only come only when they are on the land. And when they keep grazing, as the soil quality improves, the variety of fodder keep increasing. These are the other, we saw the human part of the stomach, now these are the other three. Everywhere you see the grains are not consumed. They will just come out or it will lie there. So this is disturbing the microbial activity in the stomach. Now we are discussing what is the requirement, how much if they can eat in a day in terms of quantity. Because right now we don't have a setup where we are grazing them. So we are just trying to understand how much they can eat, what is the requirement. So dry matter means dry grass, or even if you are feeding the green fodder, it has 20% dry content in that. So when you dry a grass which is green and say it is 10 kgs now, after it is dried up it will be 2 kg around. So the water content will dry up. So what is left is defined here as dry matter. Dry matter is a nutrient content available once water is removed from any food, and it is inclusive of carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins and minerals. So the nutritional element is not removed, only the water content is removed. But today what we feed to the cows, dry feed, is mostly removing the nutrient portion, because we harvest the upper part and then what is left is given to them till the bottom. Ideally they get the nutrient from the upper portion only, but we ensure that they eat the whole thing. Dry matter, cow require 2 to 3% of its body weight. So say for example, if a cow is 400 kg, she will need 8 to 12 kg dry matter per day. 2 to 3% of her body weight. If it's a small cow, 200 kg, then 2 to 3% would be 4 to 6 kg. Green grass has approximately 20% dry matter. So in other words, if you are feeding green grass, it should be fed 5 times. So if you are giving dry matter 8 to 12 kg, then green grass has to be 40 to 60 kg. This is per day we are talking. Otherwise, you will see that triangle always. The one we saw in the beginning, right? So it's not that she will eat even if she is filled. If she is satisfied, she will sit down. She will start ruminating. Only when she is hungry. So today we see wherever we go, cows are eating. What it means? Whenever you go to feed them, they start eating. What does it mean? They are hungry. It's not that they don't have a sense and they keep eating. This is what has been educated today. गाय को पता नहीं चलता है, वो तो खाते ही जाएगी. She doesn't know. She will keep eating. This is what has been propagated today, but it is not the reality. Who can overeat? Nobody can overeat, right? 400 kg cows therefore needs 40 to 60 kg of grass. Tips, because only upper half has to be given. But today what we are giving to them is full grass. So 40 to 60 kg grass tips comes from 120 kg of whole grass. Okay? Only upper 1/3 of the crop residue is recommended for the better health of the cow. So crop residue now, when the wheat is harvested, the grass left is called crop residue. When the rice is harvested, the grass that is left is called residue for the cows. But in that, the main energy, the grain is removed by us for our consumption. So what the grass is left, from that only 1/3 portion is good for her, which will give health to her. Otherwise there will be hidden hunger, as we were discussing. Like we have, all the species are having if they are not getting what they want. So to get 8 to 12 kg of dry matter, we may have to feed 24 to 36 kg of diverse crop residues. The diverse we can't do in our system today, because there are all monoculture farming. Everybody is going wheat, so you will get only wheat fodder. Then everybody will grow rice, so you will get only rice fodder. So, but they need diverse crop. Like we cannot eat same vegetable every day, right? Maybe some of us who are more austere, but it's difficult. So it will be detrimental to the health otherwise. Supplements may have to be given in this situation if we are not giving them enough. So we see the cows are fed supplements today. Calcium supplements are given, mineral mix are given. This is because what we are feeding them is not enough, because the soil is not healthy. The soil, plant, animal health is all interconnected, and then human. So that chain is disturbed today. So whatever we are feeding doesn't have nutrition, so we are feeding them from extra. We have to spend extra money for that. So this is some analysis of different kind of fodders. This you can see, we are posting all the slides on the group. This is very important point to understand. See on the left side, percentage leaf volume removed, and on the right side is percentage root growth stoppage. So for example, if the cow is grazing and she ate 10% of the grass, only 10%, say if it is 3 feet, she ate maybe for example 3 inch. So root damage is 0 in that case. If she is eating 50%, the root damage is minimal, 2 to 4% only. But if she goes beyond 50%, 60, 70, 80 and 90, then almost 80 to 100% of the root is destroyed. Meaning thereby, now you understand what it means when the roots are destroyed. So there is no formation of food for the soil life now, because the plant is almost finished, so there is no photosynthesis happening now. So you need irrigation system now. So you need some supplement like pesticides. So after every cut of the grass, you will see people are spraying some chemical urea or some DAP or something they are using. This is because the root are damaged. But if it is grazed every time 50%, then the root will keep going deeper and deeper, and it can extract minerals and humid or water content from the soil. That is additional advantage of these ruminant animals when they are grazing. If they are grazed properly, if the soil is not uncovered, then you don't need also support. This can be tried by anybody. If you will graze only 50% of your grass, it will grow on its own back. But because we have never seen this, we have understood that after harvesting we have to again water, we have to put some urea for the growth. It is not required. But because all our machineries are cutting right from the bottom, because we are using machineries to cut the grass, so there is no machinery which can cut from the center, only cows can do it. So this is just to make us understand that how important grazing is. The same thing explained here. Same thing explained here. What happens after a grass plant is grazed? So to be safe, we assume that the grazing has been severe, because some plants are always grazed severely, and thus we focus on plant growth rate. So this is a little small. First diagram is writing mature plant ready to be grazed. So this field is ready to graze. And now we are bringing the animal. Animal has grazed plant severely. So you see there is nothing on the top. She is not eating the roots. With most leafy material gone, plants is unable to convert the sunlight energy it need to grow, because there is nothing left on the top. So third, thus plant mobilizes energy from crown and roots, killing off many roots. It has to take energy from somewhere. So the roots is, see the root was big, now it has become so small. Leaves are beginning to grow on energy from crown and roots. If animal return, now if the animal is brought back again, this is what is happening today. Only when the little grass is grown, we bring the animal again. If animal return now, plant would be overgrazed again. Leaves are now converting enough sunlight energy not only to grow but also to re-establish roots. If animals return now, plant would be overgrazed again. Last, leaves have fully regrown and nearly all the roots have been re-established. If animal return now, plant would not be overgrazed, contains fresh yellow litter. So when we should start grazing? When little of the dryness starts coming on the grass, that means it is fully grown. Generally we cut it in advance. So this is what has to be monitored when we start grazing. That because our context says that every species should be allowed an opportunity to fully grow. So once the grass is fully grown, then we should integrate the cows there, not before that. So this is 4 laws of grazing. First law, before a sword sheared with the animal teeth can achieve its maximum productivity, this is we already just discussed, sufficient interval must have elapsed between 2 successive shearings to allow the grass to regrow. So the cows have grazed, before we are bringing them back again, sufficient time should be given so that the grass regrow. Second law, the total occupation period on one paddock should be sufficiently short for a grass sheared on the first day of occupation not to be cut again by the teeth of these animals before they leave the paddock. So paddock, we will understand, paddock means a small area allocated to them as per the number of cattle grazing together. So we have to ensure that they are moved to the next paddock before they eat more than the 50%. Otherwise, they will start continuing eating more and more because they are hungry. Third law, the animals with the greatest nutritional requirement must be helped to harvest the greatest quantity of grass of the best possible quality. So generally the small calves and the cow who are giving milk should be moving first, and then the other animals should be allowed. Fourth law, if a cow is to be given regular milk yields, she must not stay any longer than 3 days on the same paddock. Why 3 days? Because 1/3 is best, then on the second day she will go to the next 1/3, and then she will go to the next 1/3. It is detrimental to her health, but after that what will she eat? So yields will be at their maximum if the cow stays on one paddock for only 1 day. So this movement, continuous movement of cow is very, very important. When does overgrazing occur? So this is given here, so we have already discussed this. Stocking rate. It will also come in the next presentation, so we are not taking it now. Basically, stocking rate is the rate which defines how much cow should stay on this land, wherein you don't need any purchased input. Only by the functioning of 4 ecosystem processes, she can survive 365 days. That is the stocking rate we are talking about. Not that we are purchasing grass, not that we are using irrigation, not that we are using some chemicals to grow the grass fast. Without all these inputs, if we want to survive the cow, then we have to ensure that after she grazes, and she continues grazing your different plots on your land, and when she comes back on the first part, the grass should be ready for grazing again. That is the stocking rate we are talking about. So deciding the stocking rate, we are taking some example here. This is based on the recovery period of grass for 10 acres. So for example, the ecosystem, the bottom assumption is that the ecosystem is functioning. All the 4 ecosystems are functioning well on your land. That is minimum requirement to do anything. So once you have ensured that the soil is covered, the rainwater is harvested, the sunlight is harvested, then if you see that it takes 90 days for the grass to regrow. For example, the cow has come to this plot. These tiles can be assumed as one paddock. So say for example she is on the first tiles. This is the first paddock they have. They have grazed this today. Then you are moving them to the next, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. After 90 days, when you come to this plot number 1, the grass is fully grown again. If that is happening, it is assumed here that in 90 days, the grass has fully grown. In that case, 75 square meters is required per cow to eat to her satisfaction per day. 75 square meter of your plot, one cow can clear comfortably. So 75 multiplied by 90 is around 6,750 square meter. That converts into acre is 1.7 acre per cow. If the cow is big, 400 kg, 500 kg cow. So if that is converted now, so 10 acre of land can hold 5 to 6 cows in a situation where the regrowing capacity of the grass is 90 days. If it is 30 days, if the soil is better, if the water is retained nicely for many years, it might grow in 30 days. In that case, this will be 3 times. So 10 acre can hold up to 18 to 20 cows. Similarly, if the regrowing capacity is once in 365 days, so it grows only when the rain falls. In that case, you cannot hold more than 1 or 2 cow in 10 acre of land. Here we are understanding that we are not purchasing any grass from outside. We are not doing any irrigation. We are using no artificial system, 100% natural system. This is what we are trying to practice. So as the ecosystem services improves, the stocking rate also increases. This is what we just discussed. This we will discuss. I have a different slide to discuss about grazing. Unintended consequence of high stocking rate. So today we have a high stocking rate everywhere. Wherever we go, the stocking rate is more. So what is the problem we are facing? Difficult to give sufficient recovery period for grass, and hence grass productivity is affected as overgrazing ensues. So whenever you go to any village, you will see the cows keep moving there and it is overgrazed. As a result, the efficiency liquid carbon pathway of humus formation gets affected. So there is no carbon left in the soil. The sun is extracting all the energy from the land. Dependence on external input to feed, which shall affect the farm economically. So now we need money to purchase the fodder. You have to keep purchasing fodder because you are not growing enough. Dependence on external input, it is a non-contextual decision as it shall affect the future performance of the landscape. So purchasing, if you are purchasing from some land, grass, and bringing to another land, so that means if we are exporting the fertility of that land from where we are bringing the grass, still we are damaging the land. So this is what this fourth point means, is non-contextual. And manure recycling gets affected. As a result, insect pressure on animals shall increase, because where we are holding the cows, there is no recycling happening of the dung on its own. So there are a lot of insects which are disturbing the cows, they are causing a lot of diseases to them. So many problems. So these are all unintended consequence of improper stocking rate. So this is just another video to see how they have made some paddocks.
Come.
Small paddocks are there. And they are moving the bulls, they are all bulls, from one paddock to another paddock when it is ready for grazing. And you will see this land is covered with trees. They have trees planted at different interval. So they have not made any shades for them to stay. This is in Rajasthan, Jaipur. And you will see how see their size of body. They are all healthy, hefty, no triangle visible. I think they are Thar Parker, right? The breed is Thar Parker. So because we don't have now natural grazing field left, we have to mimic the nature to start the project. So this is like mimicking the nature. They are creating paddocks. Originally they were cow herd boy. They were standing with the cows, ensuring that when they will move, when they will not move. But if the cow herd start moving, they will start moving immediately. They are so obedient. But because now we don't have trained people to do this, so we are creating these paddocks which are as per the calculation. And then once they are grazing for a period, we move them after 6 hours, 12 hours, observing them, how much they have grazed. See, they are all very peaceful because they know there is enough to eat. There is no competition. Everybody has their own plate ready. If you have 2 plates and 10 people to eat, then there will be some struggle to eat. But here it's open for them. They have shade giving trees. See, there is no rush to go in. Peaceful, very peaceful. This is Dr. Sri Kumar. He is also preaching this project. Actually, I learned everything from him. He is connected to Belgaum project. Just read the first part, daily cutting of grass, and the last part are the causes which may destroy the opulence even of God Keshav himself. So it is clearly telling from Garuda Puran that cutting and feeding is not sustainable. Whether we accept it or not, but cutting and feeding grass is not sustainable. Barriers in and to pastures angers the cows, and the milk from such cows is poison. Okay, So this is one part over. Now we will go how we will start the project. So any questions so far? On this topic, you have any question? Mike?
How is it to control the birth? How many calf a cow can have in one life, and how to protect them?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
How many calf can have a cow during one life, naturally?
How many calf can a cow give in one lifetime? So we have to look at the health of the mother. So generally it is seen that after she is delivering a calf, at least 2 to 3 years of time should be given to so that she recoup her health. Minimum 2 to 3 years time should be given. So if she is delivering when she is 2-year-old, the cow, then the next delivery should not happen before she is 5-year-old. And after she is 10, after she is 9 or 10, she should not be impregnated. So maybe 2 or 3 or maximum 4 maybe in the lifetime of the cow. This is to keep her healthy. If the context is to keep her healthy, because she cannot be used as a machine giving calf every year. When the context is milk, then we do it like that, because she should be always giving milk. If that is the context, then we impregnating the cow. But it is very painful, it's not easy to deliver a calf every year, and one calf is already outside, another is in the stomach, taking care of both. It's not easy for the cow. So at least 2 to 3 years, minimum 2 to 3 years should be given. Any other question? So we can move on. Shelter for cows or goshala. This is all we have covered. Generally this is, because this is the last presentation, we keep these slides again so that we can just remember what we have discussed before. But because our session is too, now we will discuss this at length, stocking rate and stocking density. Before we start any project, we have to decide this first. If we start a project before deciding this, we will need continuous financial help to run that project. If you want to manage a project without any financial support or without any input from outside, that we are discussing. So if we have to come out from a mindset that I will spend money and do this, we are not discussing that. We are discussing that you have your land, you have your cows. So land and cows can solve all economic problems. So that we are discussing. So only with land and cows. Nothing else we need. So the long-term carrying capacity of your land or the total number of cows that can be reared in your entire farm along with all other beings sustainably without purchased resources from outside. So we are not purchasing anything from outside. It is dependent on 2 things. Number 1, effectiveness of the 4 ecosystem services. So out of the 4 ecosystem services, how effectively they are working on your lands. That is the first thing. So this is our job, to ensure that 4 ecosystem processes are functioning. A recovery period of grass, it means that in how many days once beaten or grazed, grass shall regrow to the same stage. So I have explained this in short before, that in our example we used 90 days and 365 days. So if your land is growing in the grass back in 90 days, then in 10 acre you cannot have more than 5 to 6 cows. And if it is taking 365 days, then in 10 acre of land you should not have more than 1 or 2 cows. This is how we start a project. We are not limiting us to the size of the land or number of cows. But if we want to start it without purchased input, then this is a calculation we should do. Otherwise, we need financial support. Then we are purchasing grass from outside, we are doing some many things to maintain it. Then it is on our decision. But if we are sticking to the context which we have made, where everybody is having a peaceful life with the family, a healthy life, whatever we wrote in the context, if you are sticking to that, then we are following this. And what is stocking density? This is very, very important. I would suggest everybody to write the next slide when I talk stocking density, because it is little calculation, lot of calculation is there in that. What is stocking density? It is the number of cows or the total weight of cows at a particular area of your farm. So for example, this is your farm, this room for assumption, and if you have 2 cows, so when they are grazing, they should be in a particular area. One can't be here and the other can't be there, because we want to create an impact on the land. If they are grazing very differently, then the impact won't come. So it is the number of cows or the total weight of cows at a particular area of your farm during a short period of time. Why short period of time? Because after they have grazed 50%, you will have to move them. How we are planning to move them in your landscape, in other words. So stocking density is, we have to keep them together. If the photo is removed from here, when we did the last seminar, it was here. When Krishna was moving the cows, they were all like densely packed. You remember in Krishna book also we have it. They are all moving together. So that is called density. They have to be grazed densely. So this we saw. This is stocking. So this is deciding the stocking rate, and now we are discussing the stocking density. Once you decide the rate, then we come on the density part. So for example, in your 10 acre of land, we have come to a conclusion that we can keep 6 cows, right? 5 to 6 cows. So we are taking 6 cows. The number of cows is 6. Then next column is weight. We are assuming that the cow is weighing 400 kg. So 400 times 6 is 2400 kg. Your total area is 10 acres, which is 40,000 square meters, because 1 acre is 4,000 square meter. So 10 acre is 40,000 square meter. This is your total land. 365 days is the time. Stocking density, why 365 days? Because we are just leaving the cow on the land. We are not managing them. We are just keeping them open on the whole land. They can move wherever they want to move. So the impact on the land is coming, which is very less, which is only 240 kg per acre. Because there is no density. It is a situation of continuous grazing. This is the most common practice today. Continuous grazing is going on everywhere. We don't wait for the grass to regrow, what we just learned. When the grass is not regrowing, the roots are getting damaged, so the soil life is getting damaged and the grass is not growing and the soil will become bare. So continuous grazing is not the correct concept of grazing. Now we go to number 2. 6 cows you have, 2400 is the weight. Land area, now we are restricting the land area. What we have discussed here, we are giving 75 square meter per cow. So 75 square meter times 6 makes 450. In the second line you can see land area in square meter is 450. So they are restricted to this 450 square meter. Because there is grass grown there, one cow can eat 75 square meter. So we have given them enough space to graze. They cannot overgraze. But this is, for example, if we see that they are overgrazing, then we can give maybe 100 square meter per cow. We can change it to 600 square meter. But that we will learn from observing the cows. But in general, this is the understanding that if they are given 75 square meters, they are happy grazing 8 hours. So 24 hours, we are giving them 450 square meter. Now 1 acre has 4,000 square meter of land. So 4,000 divided by 450. So this is why I said it is a little calculative. It comes to 9 point something it will come. So 6 multiplied by 9 will take you to 53 cows. So what is written there in stocking density is around 53. 53 multiplied by 400 gives you 21 ton. So the impact you are getting on 1 acre of land is 21 ton of weight. Because in 450, now I will ask one question. Do anybody know what is the weight of a tractor? Because we use tractor to create that traction to break the soil. Do anybody have any idea what is the weight of a tractor? Somewhere between 1 ton, 1.5 ton, 2 tons, bigger the tractor, bigger is the weight. But here we have put 6 cows weighing 400 kg, that is 2.5 ton in a small patch, 450 square meter. Just imagine the impact on the soil. Why do you need tractor now? But because we are leaving them free to graze, that impact on the soil is not coming. It doesn't get enough dung on that area, it doesn't get enough urine on that area. So, and she is continuously grazing, so she overgrazes otherwise. To restrict all those things, we have to design this system. So, the video which we saw, they have made a paddocks like this. Say they have 160 animals times 75. So around 1 acre of land, they have created paddocks like this, 1 acre paddock. So they will leave the cow in 1 acre land for 1 day. They will eat enough and then they will move to the next. So after they have done their work, I will show the videos, you will see the land is full with dung, the urine, everything goes in the soil. So you can use that land for growing your crop now, because they are not going to come back here again till the time the grass grows. And third, this is called plant grazing, what we just discussed. So we have to start with plant grazing. And if we don't have grass now, because we will be starting a project where there is no grass. If you take any land today, it is mostly bare soil. You won't get a land which is fully grown grass, right? So that is the third case now. Number of cows is 6 on 10 acre of land. Weight 2400 kg. So now, because there is nothing to graze, the area given is even much lesser, because now we are feeding them. You have to purchase grass from somewhere to feed them, because right now you don't have grass. Or you have to wait for the monsoon. When you buy a land, you wait for the monsoon, let the grass grow and then start the project. That is another way out. But say if you are starting a project in a dry season, we are discussing that. So there is no grass, you have animals, and now you want to start the work. So we give only 5 square meter per cow, because we want to give more dung and urine to it. Because there is no photosynthesis happening there, there is no soil regeneration happening, there is no soil life. So this dung will give lot of soil life, it will give lot of organic matter. So you feed on the land, so we are mimicking the nature, there is nothing grown there. So whatever you have to feed them, put it on the land. And they are eating it there on the land, not in a place which we call Goshala. So 30 square meter. Now the impact that is going to come, 4,000 divided by 30. So that will come to 133 times 6, almost 800 cows, 320 tons. This is the impact we are giving to the soil. So when you will see 6 cows moving from this 5 square meter of land the next day, you will see your land, it is totally broken. Because now you have given 2.5 ton of weight only in 30 square meter. This is called kraal grazing, kralling in a crop. Because we want to create impact, we want to regenerate the land, so this density is needed. Now we will see it in the video. See, this is, they are grazing densely. So what they are doing, they are building soil with dung and urine by moving, mobbing and mowing. They are nibbling, dunging, urinating, trampling and bunching up. This is all going simultaneously. We don't have to teach them. This is their function. They know to do this. So this is high density, short time grazing. So in the nature, there were predators. when they are grazing, like they will stay in the group all because they have a fear that the predator will come and attack them. So they will not graze separately. Are you getting this point? So in the nature, this arrangement was already there. But because now the forests are gone, we have broken the whole system, so we have to mimic the nature by keeping them densely. Then that impact will come on the land. Because there is no predator now. We have to play the role of the predator. When they will move, we have to check and keep moving them. Stock density decides the animal impact. So what they do is they prune the grass when they are grazing. They are not overeating, never. Mulching of the soil. Soil remains always covered. They lays down the dead plant material on the soil as cover and mulch. Seeding. So generally when we start this grazing process or mimic the grazing process, we should throw our seeds before. Whatever crop you want, we should throw the seeds on the land. Then put the grass for them and we should bring them. This is how the process goes. They bury the seed and compact the soil, and compaction of the soil is broken. 100% utilization of dung and urine as manure. So everything just goes on the land. You don't need labor to shift the dung and urine. You can never shift. Nobody has succeeded in collecting all the urine. It's the most important resource we have. So dung and urine is ensured that it is going the place where it has to go, directly on the land. Water infiltration breaks hard soil surfaces to allow water in. When they are densely put in an area, they will break the soil. So when the rain comes, water will go in. Feeding of cows by grazing. So they are self-feeding themselves. So we just have to manage their movement. Our job is to manage the movement. This is how continuous grazing, pasture, rotational grazing. But we want high density, short time grazing. These principles have evolved slowly over a period of years. So when they started doing work, they made to do grazing, then they saw, oh, this is a problem, then they made 2 pastures, then 4, then finally they came to a conclusion that unless and until the grass regrows, we can't bring the cows back there. And by common sense we can understand, say for example you are doing some crop and you have put seeds, you have done some fertilizer thing and everything is done. Now will you bring any animal there? Till the time the crop is fully grown, you will never bring the animal there. So you should see it like that, that when the cows have grazed once, the seeding has happened, fertilizer, manure has been laid down, everything is done now. Now it needs rest. It needs rest for the crop to grow. So grass is also a crop. It's not that what we eat is only crop. Grass is also a crop for cows. So this rest period is what is lacking on our grazing land. We never allowed the land to rest after the first grazing. So the grass is not growing again. This we have discussed 4 laws. So the 5 principles of regenerative agriculture. First is the context should be clear. What is our context of the project? Unless and until we define the context, now we can't have a context that we want to have organic fruits and vegetables for our survival. That cannot be the context, because that is utility of the project. The context has to be taking care of all the species, because now we have understood. Once we take care of them, nature will take care of us. So first we have to regenerate the soil, plant, animal, and then humans. So first is minimum soil disturbance. So if at all when you start a new project, you might need to use some tools initially, might be, depending on the situation of the land. You might decide to use it, but it should be minimum usage has to be done. Next is maximize crop diversity. So we will allow whatever is growing on the land and let the diversity come on its own. Third, keep the soil covered. Even if there are not living roots, we will try to get something, as I forwarded yesterday that video of orange pills. Just by throwing anything organic matter, and covering the soil is also sufficient to start with. Then maintain living root year round. We should try to achieve this initially because the land is too poor in situation. When you take a land, you can do a carbon testing of the soil. Generally people check NPK or other things, but we should check the carbon content. What is the carbon content of the soil? What is the organic matter content of the soil? That can be done in any laboratory. So till the time it reaches 2%, the land is not healthy enough to give good quantity of production. Minimum needed is 2%. So generally the Indian average of the soil in 1947 was 3%, which was about 2% for the whole of land of India. And today it is around 0.3%. So we have degraded our lands by 90% already. This is 0.3 is the average of India. Some are even less, but the average is 0.3. Maintain living root, and the last is integrating the livestock. So connecting the land and cows. So these are the principles we are going to follow on our farm. If we follow this, then we are following good principles and the input requirement will be minimalistic. So habitat for cows, as we call it Goshala. As cows are domesticated animals, we have to mimic their habitat to get the best out of their functions. Habitat means the natural home or the environment of an animal, plant or other organism. So we have to give her a natural home, what is given to them by nature. Fortunately, the habitat for cows and all other species in the farm are the same. So we all coexist. Everybody can live happily on the farm, on the land. Only by keeping all the inhabitants of the farm in their habitat can the project be economically viable, socially acceptable, without affecting the 4 ecosystem processes, in tune with spiritual values, favoring the function of the cows. So this is our decision making. Simultaneously we are ensuring that everything is happening. Then and only then we will see what we want. In a holistically managed farm, tree shall provide shade, deep roots, leaf mulching. So when the leaves are falling, the nutrient cycle is allowed. We are not disturbing the nutrient cycle. Grasses shall pump carbon down into the soil as well as feed the livestock. So they are feeding the livestock as well as the carbon is pumped down through the process of photosynthesis. Crops shall feed us. It should also give our requirement. And what are our resources? Sunlight, rain, air, cows and ourselves. This is what is needed. We are harvesting sunlight, rain, air, dung and urine. This should not be wasted. No spillage of sunlight, no spillage of rainwater, air or dung and urine. Everything should be taken advantage of. Through the air you receive many seeds. So many seeds comes on your land with the help of air. No purchase resources or importing of resources. So we will not purchase anything from outside, neither we will send anything outside. No irrigated cropping. So no irrigation. So we don't need electricity or pipes to irrigate or some pumps to extract the water from the land underneath aquifers. Cropping with effective rainfall. What is effective rainfall? Harvesting whatever is coming. Irrigation is pumping water back to where it came from. So basically we are just increasing our work by the process of irrigation. And as we discussed, Annat Bhavanti Bhutani, Parjanya Anna Sambhavad. So we should eat things grown from the rainwater. That gives us health. So step 1, we are just repeating the whole process, deciding the stocking rate. How many cows you can have given. Say for example, somebody have 2 acres of land. Then we don't need to have cows. Whenever we will need cows, we will invite somebody else's cows on the land. Because otherwise what will you feed her? So then you have to wait till the time the soil is totally regenerated, so then you can bring your own cow. Because if you decide to bring cow, then it should be clear that you have to purchase grass. If you are okay with that, it is your decision. But what we are discussing here is no purchased inputs. So stocking rate has to be carefully decided. Then step number 2, we try to grow trees immediately. So all over the property, local trees. This is very, very important. We have to grow local trees. If you want to eat things which are not growing locally, it will require a lot of input to take care of those species. But the local species will survive naturally here. So we should, because our principle is simple living. We just want food to keep the body and soul together. So we can't be having opulently everything what is growing everywhere on the planet growing on our land. It is not possible. Only local. So we have to understand from the locality where we are having our farm, what was used to grow on this land 100 years back, 50 years back. We have to do that research on our land, in our area, from the people, old people staying there, who knows what was happening here before, because now things have changed. Nobody knows what is local, what is seasonal. So that homework we have to do in the area where we are doing this project. And we have to plant those seeds. We have to source those seeds and grow those trees only. Because that would not require much management. They are adapted to this climate. They can live happily here. They can thrive in this climate. We feel it is too hot, it is too cold. But it was always like this here. So the species which was surviving here then can survive here now also. We just have to do that research. And they should be spaced properly. So ideal spacing is 40 feet because the tall tree can go up to 40-50 feet. So they should not overshade each other, restricting the growth in between. If you want to use the land to grow your things, and if the trees are densely put, then it is difficult to grow other things underneath there. So good spacing is required. So we are suggesting here, this ultimately depends on you. You can decide what you want to do. But a suggestive step is 40 feet. This is 12 meters spacing between the trees. And if there are smaller trees like lemon is a small tree, pomegranate is a small tree, they can be planted in between. Between these 40 feet, you can put one tree of those things. But that will come gradually. The trees shall be protected from the livestock. Because now we are trying to grow these trees, some protection has to be given initially. Otherwise, when you are moving your animals, they might damage it. Plant in nest. So this is a Mexican proverb. They tried to bury us. They did not know we were seeds. So generally the seeds are put on the land in the mulch. They are never buried in the soil. But what we see today is that we are burying the seeds in the soil, but there is no need to do that. In the forest, nobody is doing that. The seeds will fall and a new tree will grow. There is nobody there to dig and put it in there. But because it is always covered, the soil is always covered, you can see this. If you go on the highway somewhere where there is some big trees there, after the monsoon you please visit there, you will see new plants and trees growing there because the seeds are falling. And then they establish in the monsoon and it starts growing, and it is because it is covered with the mulch, we are not no human intervention is there, it has enough water to grow there. So we have to grow in nest. This is how we should, so we don't need tractor. We will cover the soil, the mulch is already there. You will just create some space, put your seed and cover it back. That is enough. Burying in the soil is not a healthy practice. Then you have to disturb the soil structure, you have to disturb the microbial activity. We don't want to do that. So this mulching is enough. So in the picture you can see there is dry grasses and a new sprout is coming out, green sprouts. So they grow like this. This is step 3. 50% of the land should be cropped seasonally. So half of your land should be used for your crops. Whatever you want to consume for the year, you should grow as per your requirement in smaller quantities. So during the growing season, 50% of the land can be used for cropping annuals. So trees are perennials. We call it perennial because they will give you fruits, flowers, year round. So we have some perennials. Today you see no perennials on the land. Nobody is planting trees now. If they plant trees, then there is only trees there. But we need both. We want fruits We want vegetables, we want grains, because we want to be sustainable. So there should be trees, and in between there, 50% of the land will be used for our cropping. Some vegetables, some dal, some rice, whatever you want to consume. That's a decision of your community, what you want to do. The crop residue thus generated shall be fed to the cows during the non-growing season. So after you have harvested your crop, the grass there should be grazed at that particular spot by the cows. So you are not exporting your fertility, it is going back to your land. So it becomes ready for the next crop. Otherwise, again, you have to purchase some input, you have to put some chemical fertilizer, maybe organic manure fertilizer, still you have to put some input. But if you move the cows, you are giving it dung and urine, that's enough. And it remains covered. So annual crops in between the trees. In between trees we can do annual cropping. They call it LA cropping also. The crop residue in the non-growing season is fed to the cows. So we move the cows and they are fed there. So we save a lot of labor. We save the labor of cutting the grass. We save the labor of collecting the dung and urine from where they are confined. It goes where it is supposed to go. So it is very minimal work for us. This is like kraal. We gave the example when the grass is not grown, so we have to restrict them to an area. So here we are restricting them in density, but they are fed on that land. So when they are moved, there is a lot of dung and urine and the soil starts generating. So we'll see this we have done in ISKCON Ahmedabad Goshala, ISKCON project. See, they are mimicking the nature, they are spreading the grass. Right now we are spreading the grass on the land. Because there is nothing grown there, so we are spreading the grass. After we spread the grass, now we see the soil is covered and we are spreading more than the cows can eat. After that we are bringing the cows there. So here we have not created that kraal because we have some devotees and workers standing around, restricting them not moving from that area. And this is after they have done their eating work. So see, there is a lot of dung. So this is called kraaling. When we have nothing grown, then we start the project with this step. This is a photo of that land. So, see, it is very symmetrically distributed because they won't sit at a place where they have passed dung. They will keep moving. So you will see that it is properly spreaded. You don't have to work to spread this. So now when the dung falls, the dung beetles and other microbes will come and start recycling it. They will take it down in the soil. They will put some soil. This is how the soil, topsoil comes back. They create holes in the soil. So when the rain comes, this is another way of putting the water down. So you can see the holes. One dung pad can create at least 5 to 6 holes, maybe more, maybe less. There is no fixed rule to this. But now when the rain comes, the water has to go down. So this is a nature's mechanism to preserve the water which is coming from the rain. But when we use tractor, what will happen? All this pipeline will be broken. And then we have to use our pipe system. We have to use our irrigation system. But this has a message. These dung beetles will not feed on the dung from a cow that has been medicated with chemical. So today there is a lot of medication given to the cows. Antibiotics, all these different minerals, vitamins, which are all synthetic. So then these bugs or the beetles, dung beetles will die in that case. So it is very important that we feed them what is growing naturally on our landscape. Step 4, remaining 50% of the land shall be used for plant grazing. So because 50% we have used for our cropping, so balance 50% the cows should be moving there even in the growing season. So people use different things, they graze with electric fans, they make permanent kraals, people keep some people employed to stand there with the cows, like Krishna was standing himself. There was no electric fans or no any kraals created. So best is covered boy, somebody standing there and restricting the cows there. That is best. This is the same video we just saw. So they have created these kraals with some fans. So throwing away into waste the cow dung and cow urine disfigures the society. So dung and urine are very precious, we have understood that. But how it has disfigured the society is, now just remember that elephant. All the disfigurement we see is just because of not proper utilization of dung and urine. Wherever you go, you will see heaps of dung lying. Any village you go. Because they don't know what to do, how to manage it. It's a mindset that we will accumulate, then we will put it in the trolley and take it on the land and put it there. So that we call dung-centric farming. But we are into cow-centered farming. Cow should be in the center of our farm, not the dung and urine. So we are worshipping, we are respecting each and every species and giving them a good habitat. Our farm should be habitat for all. So this is how basically we can start a project and keep moving. So this is a disfigurement. So we say that in the dung is a source of Lakshmi ji, right? So there is a shloka to this. Go, what is the shloka? Lakshmi, right? So the Lakshmi here we are talking about is health. The real cow products are things growing from dung and urine, not eating dung and urine. Eating dung and urine is post-mortem. We have become degraded in our health, so we are taking help of Ayurveda and making some medicines out of dung and urine. But if you eat things grown from dung and urine in this process, then you will be always healthy. Why disease will come to you? There is no scope for diseases to touch you. So these are real cow products. Fruits and vegetables growing in this process. And then we can remove this disfigurement of the society. And then we can attract millions of people to follow this process. Dung may be precious to us, but is tool to the cow. So this is the worst arrangement possible to be given to the cow, that she is smelling her dung and urine. Just imagine, if you go to somebody's house and you are smelling stool, how will you feel? But here we have a paradigm, monkey paradigm. It is very auspicious, it is very good. No, this is how we have been trained so far. Good for us, we can take bath with that, no problem, but not for them. For them it is tool. It is the most irritating thing for them. Most irritating. And so they are in disease always. See, when the dung is accumulated, the tree is already finished. It is dried. This we have read before, the disadvantage of confining the cows. This is again touching our same points, ecosystem processes. Soil, water and atmosphere. It is for learned people to intelligently make use of all these possibilities in reality. So these are examples done by people where they have used cows to regenerate the soil. Because when there is no soil life, then cows can give soil life through dung. Because there is a lot of life in the dung. So this kralling starts the project because most of us, whatever land we will get, it will be all exposed land today. We will get bare soil. So it is very, very important to integrate cows with the land. That is the first step to start. So here this project which is shown on the left side down, if you go to this project in Jaipur, the nearby land is still deserted. There is nothing growing there. But this, they are following since 7-8 years now. So it stays green almost 365 days now. And they use minimal irrigation. And that is also through some natural system. They are using some hand pump or minimum use of energy or electricity or things like that. And they have trees all over. They have vegetables, grains. It's coming up. Sorry. So we become the orchestrators of nature sequence. So we start with agroforestry, growing trees, then plant grazing, good animal care, regenerative agriculture practices. This is all we are supposed to do. So we have to remove our current understanding of a farmer. We have to remove our current understanding of taking care of cows and the calf. We have to understand what a farm is. It is about sustaining all the species of life. It is not just for our sustenance. With that consciousness, we can bring abundance. If our consciousness is just self-centered, then we cannot bring abundance in the creation. So in other words, we have to re-manifest the forest. Because Krishna was living in forest. Krishna says in Bhagavatam, Nanda Baba, we don't live in town, we don't live in village, we don't live in cities, we live in forest. There is a shloka on this. So when we grow trees, it is like we are trying to mimic forest. And we grow trees which are local. Then you get wood from that to make your houses. That is the next step. So from the mud and wood, people used to make their houses. And so I met somebody, some last seminar we did, there was a lady from Germany. She said, we have 500-year-old houses in Germany, made out of mud. 500-year-old. No problem. I have seen 200-year-old houses just right near Kanpur here. 200-year-old house, no problem. So they are the, what they call is pakka ghar, pakka house. What we are making is kacha. But the mindset given is otherwise. That mud house is kacha house and the cemented house is pakka house. And they are breathing. These houses are breathing. They give you a lot of life when you stay in there. So this land and cows, as we have discussed in last 3 days, they can give us everything we want. But the system is so degraded, so the transition has to start from somewhere. So like we started chanting, that was a transition in our life. Connecting to devotees, reading Shastra, from 1 round to whatever now we are doing 16 or 64 depending on every devotee. So it took us years to do that. Similarly, when we start this project, at least the direction is correct. We are taking a decision which is taking us to our context, and in the coming years you will see the whole project manifesting. So it should not be discouraging to us in after 1 year, oh Prabhuji, nothing is happening. It is not like that. Even after 30 years, we are chanting. And if you will ask, what have you realized? Are you feeling when you are chanting Krishna is there? We will say no. Still, we have faith in the process. So that faith element is required in all the project we do. And then Krishna reciprocates. So far the principles are correct. We are following the principles correctly. We won't face any challenge in the project. So the biggest struggle would be to restrict ourselves from doing anything which is not required. Because it will come, when things will grow, we will start removing, when some thorny thing will come, we will start removing. We cannot do that because our context is not allowing us to do that. So we are just orchestrating So here this is, so he doesn't play anything, he is just guiding. So we are just guiding the species as an intelligent species to perform their own functions. And our function is to be serving them, taking care that they perform their function. So this is the philosophy of the project. And the practical aspect we have seen in detail, this is how it will go. And it is very easy, very simple. We just have to start this process by process, step by step. There is no choice that it will stop. Impossible. Because you are giving charge to the nature. We are just harvesting nature's resources, sunlight, rain, dung, urine. We are not importing anything. And this was given by the Lord initially. But right now, because we are sitting on a wrong ratio maybe, many projects are already in a wrong ratio. They have less land and more cows. Then it's a struggle to transit. But if you have a desire to transit and make it economically viable, it will manifest. But if you don't rectify your mistakes, if you don't make these 4 ecosystem processes work, then you cannot expect a change. Because unless and until you are improving the soil situation, nothing will improve. That is at the base of the pyramid. Then plant, then animal, then human. This is how it will follow. So we have to work on improving the soil quality. So we can take a break for 10 minutes. It's 12 o'clock. And then we can, it's 11:45. So we can take question answers maybe now then if you want, or we want a break. What should we do? We have few slides left which is separate from this. So I want to take it after the break so we can have some question answers, or we can take a break and then start with the question answer and their slides. It will be not more than 30-40 minutes now. So I think, yes? Okay, so we do question answers. Thank you. लाइट चला सकते हो अभी? Right.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you shared about this corral grazing system. So already existing Ahmedabad one. So what is the cow density ratio with the land there?
So because this project is 30-year-old, Ahmedabad when we started it in like 80s,
Okay.
40-year-old. So we already had number of cows, whatever we had, around 230 of them. And our land was like 70 acres.
Okay.
So the ratio was already out. As per the ratio, the cows were more. So we started with kralling. And in the kralling, we give 5 square meters to a cow.
Okay.
So that is fixed because we are feeding them. Though we were growing some grass, we are purchasing some grass, feeding them there and trying to move them every day. Because when there is enough dung and urine, we can't keep them there because then that will give disease to the cows. After 12 hours, if you will see, there will be enough dung on that. So then you have to shift them.
Okay. So
Or if you give them 10 square meters, you can keep them 24 hours. One day you can keep them.
one cow,
5 square meters for 12 hours.
for 12 hours. That is the ratio. And I think this corral will be the more
Movable, yeah.
Yeah, movable and more feasible to start with. Because otherwise it will be like too much to, even if you're buying land, it's too much for spending.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So corral is movable. You can have fixed also, but movables are better. Because after a time you won't need that. Because then grass will start growing, then you will need 75 square meter per cow. So this is just for the beginning, start of the project, we need this help. But if you have, like if somebody has few cows, if I talk about individual myself, I have my 6-acre land and I have not taken cows so far. So I bring cows from the village and I graze them there. So I didn't need kralling also. What I would do is, when the grass is fully grown after a monsoon, I will bring 200 cows from the village. They are happy bringing their cows and they remain there from morning till evening. So they recycle the grass, dung is there, urine is there, and we are happy. And then they go back. So that can be a beginning start if you are doing on individual level. Because if you have your own cows, then you have to maintain them properly, you need some people to take care of them. Or then smallest arrangement, you start with one bull. Then we can have a long thread, we don't restrict him much, like maybe 3 meters, so it can move peacefully. There should be water arrangement made there and enough grass to eat in that area. And then you keep shifting that point for him. Once there is enough dung and urine, you just shift him once a day. So that is also giving him enough freedom to move and giving him clean. The freedom to move, the important point is they are free from dung and urine. That is the main point, not anything else. So in current situation, wherever we see, they are free to move, but they are not free from dung and urine. They should not smell it. So when we started this, we thought dung will going to fall on the land. How will it be free from dung and urine? But when we started, we realized that when it fall on the land, the smell disappears immediately. You don't smell it. But when it is confined area, it is there. It is not seeping in, penetrating in it still remains liquid all the time. So the smell comes. And the feeding went threefold. What we were feeding before, because we didn't know what is the actual feeding. So we went to 60 to 80 kgs per cow. So you can imagine, so the dung production also increased. Still there was no smell. So the purpose of moving is giving them liberty to move, that is number one, but the most important is a clean environment where they don't have to smell their dung and urine. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Prabhu, just on this point, now that you're speaking about freedom to move, and I was just reflecting on when you did the what you call the stocking density, and you have your 6 cows in the different categories, and you've calculated what the impact is on the environment and so forth. So I'm thinking, because I'm thinking of one ISKCON farm in particular, I won't mention which one, where there are so many kind of challenging features for the cows within within the paddocks that they are put in, and there's a lot of discussion that are these paddocks actually what we can describe as arable land? Because cows have their own sensitivities, psychologically, emotionally, socially. So if we simply take a measure of land and we calculate it, they, and think that, as long as there are fresh grasses there, they're going to be free to move around in that space. But there could be, and I would say more often than not, there are always different features within a landscape that could be unappealing to cows. Like, for example, if the gradient is too high, especially if you have like an old cow or a pregnant cow, or they might have a sore leg or whatever, they're not going to want to walk up very steep gradient. Or there could be ravines, or even just the surface of the soil could be lumpy. Like, for example, if you have a pasture that floods a lot and the water is churning up the soil and it's becoming uneven, even though it may be very fertile soil. So that could be unappealing for cows, even though there may be, a fresh grasses there. So I'm just wondering if those sorts of, what we may call typical irregularities or features within land is taken into account when you do your calculations like that?
Good question. So let's go back to the previous days. If we follow these ecosystem processes, whatever we are thinking right now, whatever problems we are facing today in terms of water logging, the soil moving up and down, because of this water logging, lot of insects moving in the area, this won't happen. That is why I showed you that video of the cow grazing. There is no insects there. Absolutely no. But we have never conceived such a project. So whatever we have seen is places where the ecosystems are not functioning. So once the ecosystem starts functioning, you will see she will be happy to be grazing in that patch of land because she is getting what she is supposed to be doing, what she is supposed to be feeding herself to keep healthy. Then second thing, whatever project we discuss, the cow and calf are never together. So they are always in a stress. And when any species is in a stress, 4 things will happen. Number 1, its behavior will become irrational. It applies to all of us. Any species I am talking. When we are in stress, our behavior becomes irrational. Number 2, our productivity decreases. We don't feel like doing things. Whatever we are doing before, now if we are in stress, it will go down. Number 3, our lifespan will go down. So we see in the cows, because they are in stress, where they can live minimum 15 years of life, now they are living less than 5. And last, they are in disease. So that is also visible. So the only point we have to address is we have to bring them out of the stress. So I understand your question and the intent. So we are not creating the best situation now to start with. But our intent is to evolve to that stage, from the degraded stage where we are today. Because right now, at least we have to admit, we are not providing the best of the services, right? So if we want to evolve to a better situation, we have to make this 4 ecosystem function. Then these problems will disappear. These are symptoms of wrong decisions taken. This water logging is never in the system. If your landscapes are good, it can take in an amount of water given by the nature. Because nature gives exactly the water which the soil can absorb. But because we have degraded the situation of the soil, keeping it bare all the time, we see water logging. Otherwise it will never happen. And then, even at the places where the rainfall is more, in those places the cows are not that heavy to break the soil structure. But because we have again imported and shifted the cows from here and there, because of our context of milk, this problem is more visible today. Otherwise it will not happen. So today, if I talk about my place where I was in Gujarat, we don't have good rainfall, but the animals are big. They need to work more to break the soil. But if you go to areas where there is more rainfall, the animals are small. But because of our non-contextual decision of extracting or looking at cows only for milk, all these unintended consequences are visible today. So what we are trying to rectify is just connecting to the nature the way Krishna gave it. So there was a purpose behind designing different cows for different area. If some particular species is best, Krishna would have done it in all the landscapes. But different sizes, different breeds are with a purpose, which somehow we don't know. We have not studied that. We don't need to, but at least we should appreciate that it is done with a purpose. So this mobility of cows has also become detrimental. Now I see when we go to US, there are Gir cows there. From Gujarat. You see Gir cows in Canada, which is not good for their physiology. They are not designed for that environment. But why they have taken them there? Non-contextual decision. Because they are not caring for the animal health. They are not caring for, in the environment they grew. Like if we talk about our devotees, those who were in Russia before and now shifting here, it's very difficult for them to stay here. We have to give a special care in that environment because it is not natural to their life. And if we go to Russia, we can't stay there because we have been raised in India. So there are so many things that goes into this to give a quality life to any species. So, but that is only ensured by 4 ecosystem processes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I have a few questions. First is, what do you do with the crop, the stalks, after you harvest it? Because you said that's not so good for the cows to eat.
Crop, wherever we wrote crop in this presentation, it is meant for human consumption. So anything that is for consumption of the cows remains on the land. We are not moving that. So for example, you have grown rice. So you will harvest the grain part and the grass part remains there. And in the non-growing season, that means after the rainfall, we will move the cows in that area to graze that grass and recycle it, put dung, urine, so the field is again ready to crop the next for us. So we are dividing the project into two parts. Half of the land is for the cows to graze and half of the land is for us, humans. In the total land we are growing trees, perennial. So we get some fruits, flowers, whatever we want, we can grow the local trees. And then in the 50% between the trees we are growing our annual crops. So the residue of that crop we are not storing anywhere. They have to graze it on that land only, because otherwise if we are exporting the fertility, the nutrient cycle will stop. Whatever grows on the land, it has to go back there. That is the principle we have discussed in the nutrient cycle or the mineral cycle. So am I answering your question?
So the cows are supposed to eat the stalks?
Sorry?
The cows are going to eat the stalks?
Yes, the cows are going to eat it.
Another question is, I heard that the fresh cow dung is not so good for the plants. It's like too strong. You're supposed to get the old cow dung or dry cow dung. But you were mentioning like all the bugs in the cow dung are good for the plants in the fresh cow dung.
This is how it is.
It's okay to put the fresh cow dung right on the plant.
Who wants to collect the dung? Tell me that. If we have 9 lakh cows, just imagine the quantity of dung. Who will process it? Who will convert it into manure? So it's a natural system that functions. And a healthy system, when the dung pad falls, it is converted in less than 2 days. Less than 2 days it is converted into soil. But because there is no soil life, we see it there for many days today. In the healthy system, it will disappear like anything. They are waiting for it. It's the food. The microbes, the dung beetles are waiting for the dung pad to fall. But because we have never seen such a healthy system, at least in the monsoon you will see. You go to any land, because in monsoon the best part is the soil temperature is maintained. It is green everywhere. So when in those situations the dung pad falls, immediately the beetles will come and start taking it down. It will disappear in at least 7 to 10 days in any landscapes today even. It is that fast. But even when the regenerative process is functioning, ecosystems are functioning, then it will be even faster. So it doesn't stay there for long. So what we have seen so far is that when it is fresh, it is detrimental because it stays for long. But in this system, it won't be there for a longer period. It will disappear in no time.
And where do the cows stay? Do they just stay on the field like all night as well?
Yes. They stay on the land whole night because they are still passing dung and urine at night, and we don't want to enter into the management of that part. But in the beginning, we might have to create some housing facility for them. But if we get a land where there are trees already grown, they can stay happily under the tree, no problem. Even in the rain, even in the winter, even in the summer. So this project which I was discussing in Ahmedabad, even our temperature there is not too cold, but it goes to like 7 degrees, 8 degrees in the winter, and our cows were staying on the land. No problem, nothing happened. No trees. No shade even. Only like as Mataji was mentioning, the pregnant cows, we used to give some special care. Some old cows were given special care, but mostly 95% of the herd was staying out, no problem. In the summer, in the property, if you would have seen in that video, there were trees on the side. We have some trees on the side, big neem trees. So we were planning the movement so that in the afternoon time, they were near the tree. So they were sitting there, they were eating there, because we didn't have enough trees. But once, imagine a situation, after 3-4 years, you will be having fully grown trees. Then they can have, given a choice, sitting under a shade or a tree, what will we prefer? Anybody would prefer a tree. So they have to given shade initially because we don't have good arrangement when we start a project. But it will be just a waste of money after some years. We won't need that. So something, because we are not going to have a factory farming Goshala, like hundreds of cows with us. So 2-3 cows, you don't have to make a big shed. Even when we start a community as a temple, so everybody is entrusted a land, everybody has his own house, and everybody has his own cows. That model works better. But if say he is entrusted with cows, then he is miserable person on the property. And rest everybody will be just idling. So everybody should be encouraged to be involved in the project. Then they learn to be with the cows, with the land. Otherwise, we will be still busy doing the same things on the land. No change. So the consciousness change will come when we start working on the land, we start working with the cows. And now what we are working, we have understood, we are not to pick up the dung, we don't have to cut the grass. We are just ensuring that they are moved on time. And only 1 or 2 cows under your care, not 100 of cows. But when we think about who will do for 100 cows, this is our idea about Goshala. But what Goshala we have discussed is a habitat. And then when they are moving, then the whole community cows gathers and they all go out for grazing. This is how the model works. So they are housed in your property. We have 50% grazing land. When they go for grazing, say we are 20 families, then 40 cows will go together. Even now many villages are doing that. We have seen this, maybe most of the people who have lived in villages might be aware of this. So it's a community asset. Land and cows belongs to the community, not to a person. That principle has to be established in our preaching when we go to villages. Right now people are restricting cows to entering. No, this is not my cow, but we can't consider it. It is quite distant what I am talking now, but that will be the ideal situation. Whole village is a community and the land belongs to the village, and now the key people decides where the cow will move today. So today he is moving to his land. Dung, urine is done for him. Now tomorrow the cows goes to his land. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. The cows keeps moving like this because everybody needs to fertilize the soil, right? So it has to be viewed like that. But because now we have compartmentalized the land, we have started managing in parts, not as a whole. So we are facing this problem of less land, more cows, how to take care of the thing. So all this segregation has created the issue. So when we view it as a community, there are examples where people have distributed their land to the community. Say I have 1,000 acres of land, now I cannot do it. So I invited hundreds of families to stay with me. In Zimbabwe, one person has done this. And now he has allotted that land to them. 1,600 acre land he had. And now in that land, following this practice for 30 years or maybe 35 years, now the river has started flowing back on that land. There was no water on that land before. And the river is flowing back there. So because every water is going in the soil, every single rainwater is going, everything is effective on your land now. So the river has to come, the spring has to come back. You can't stop it. So the important decision we have to take is to start. The rest everything is given. So we have to struggle with our consciousness and somehow take that courageous step to start this project. Individually or collectively, whichever way it works. So we need like-minded people who understand these principles. If you get some university expert in farming, he won't understand this. He will just be after the weeds. If you get somebody, some veterinary doctor, he will be just after the calf and the cow separating. Because this is how they are educated. It is not that a mistake. The whole system is like that. What can they do? They are sincerely following what they are given. What they have learned, they are following it. We can't blame anybody for this. So the system needs a change. We need to shift from the system now. You have a question?
Prabhuji.
Oh, she's okay. After that, maybe. Yeah.
Prabhuji, is there any difference between the cows naturally going and dumping, and we have also heard like what many of the organic people, they are having this practice of making jivamrita and then putting on the soil. So
Yeah.
Is there any difference?
That is human doing, and this is human being. When we make jivamrita, it is human doing. It is not natural. We have to collect the dung, we have to collect the urine, you have to confine the cow, take the urine, you have to have this, what you call chickpea flour, we have to add jaggery, then mix water. But if this happens naturally, then why you want to go to all the trouble? And plus, there are instances where people have used this more, because there is a fixed period, you have to do it for 7 days, fermentation, and then a fixed quantity should go. So if you do it more, the soil gets bad. So lot of management practices will increase in that. But this is very natural. When they will smell dung, they put the dung here, they will immediately move forward. And if it falls on the covered land, then the decomposition will be very fast. So ideal situation for the dung to fall is on the grass, not on the land. So we are trying to shift from human doing to human being. So it is dung-centric farming. We are talking about cow-centered farming. So cow is also given a healthy life in this. She is allowed to move, she is grazing. But still, given these all principles, if you are grazing them, if you are moving them, keeping them, if you want to follow Jivamrit, nothing wrong. It is your decision. But nature doesn't have this system. In nature, everything was going like this.
Prabhuji, this project is not going to work in the villages.
Okay.
There are so many reasons behind this. If there is any other alternative, we should consider. Very difficult to apply this in the villages, because no one can let loose the cows to graze on their land, because there is no grazing land at all in the villages. We can do it only to put the examples, but not in general. So it is not at all possible in the villages.
Thank you. So as I said, it's our decision. We are doing a set of practices today, and if it is helping us to achieve the quality life which we want, we should continue that. We are not here to change anybody. It's a self-conscious decision of an individual to decide whether what he is doing today is correct. He can continue doing that. But he feels that that is detrimental to my life, that is detrimental to the future of my family, detrimental to the land, then he has to find an alternative. But we see in the history, people have changed the methods, but the principle has remained the same. We have been exploiting Mother Earth, we are exploiting Mother Cow. So result won't change. So what we have talked in last 3 days is we want to stop the abuse of cows and Mother Earth. We have to shift our mindset from anthropocentric, as we use the word. Everything is for humans. This is what we are thinking. That is why the word come out is nobody will allow the cow on the land. Because we treat cows as unimportant species on this planet. So that mindset, till the time the consciousness changes, people will keep suffering. So it's their conscious decision what they want to do. But unless and until we rectify the principles we are following, just changing the methods won't help. Like people have shifted from chemical-based farming to organic farming now. That is a shift that has happened. But again, we are not welcoming the species. When any species will come on the land, we are trying to kill that. It will not give us quality life. So whatever we have discussed might not be palatable, understandable, executable for most of us. But this is principle. This is from the Shastra. This is proven by the science. So many farmers have started doing this. But we will also follow, but it requires a consciousness to understand this. But rightly you said in the end, so we can do it on a small piece so that the whole village can learn. So if somebody can arrange that, that will be also a good model for them to learn. In 3 years, they all will be convinced, not more. It will not take 30, 40 years to understand. Couple of years, they will understand that it is working. You will compare the yield, what they are getting, what this is giving. You will compare the profits, what they are getting. What is our focus, yields or profit? Tell me. What is our goal? Profits or yield? Profit, come on. Why you need yield for? If you have 1000 kg of production but you are losing your money, then what is the value of that yield? We want profits in our farming. So, is any farmer profitable today? That is a question to be checked. And from the first year, your project will be profitable compared to any farmer on the village. Even then they will not accept. I agree to what you said. Still they will not accept because their consciousness is on that level. So what we need is, we start a small project in couple of acres of land and we have to start some preaching. Krishna consciousness. Once they get connected to Krishna consciousness, then these principles are somewhat understandable. Otherwise it is little difficult. But if you are interested, you should start. You have understood the whole project and you have identified that it is very difficult to understand, and I agree to your comment. I am not denying that. But if you can make a model, as you said, there is a lot of land in the village. You start with 10 acres small plot with 3 cows, nothing to lose. We are not asking for any inputs from outside. पैसा तो लगाना नहीं है उसमें. Just observe it for 3 years. Nobody is taking away your land, nobody is taking away your cows. In 3 years, result will preach for itself. But we have to start because the current reality is there. They are struggling. So we have to help them. That is your objective of coming here, right? You want to help people. That is the whole purpose of learning this. So I am very positive about this concept because I have visited many projects who are doing this. If you want, we can guide you to visit those projects where people have succeeded in doing this. Then maybe people might believe. But my humble request is, we have to start from somewhere. It is difficult, it is struggling, it is not easy. This is all we know. But if we don't start, then the life is same, there is no change. Yes? Yes, Prabhu. Mm-hmm. I will share the models, but as we understand now, because we are all part of a community, ISKCON, we have understood that seeing is believing doesn't work. We follow Vedas as a final authority. So this is all from the teachings. I have quoted shlokas, so many shlokas are given. Still our mindset is doubting. So we need to work on that. Because even seeing the video won't help you, I am telling you, Prabhu. Because I have done, this is my 10th seminar. So I have good experience working with devotees and other even outsiders. Seeing in believing never works. It is your desire to achieve a quality life. Unless and until you have that desire. Because one thing is very clear. What we are doing today is not giving us quality life. We are eating something which we are not supposed to eat. At least shifting on the land is making you better than that. So, what is there to see now? By common sense we understand that we are struggling right now. Isn't it? I will share. I have nothing wrong. I will certainly share on the post, on the group, and we can continue discussing on that. This group is not limited to this class. Whenever you have any question on this, you can keep posting on that. We will keep answering that. Even if you start your project anywhere in the world, if you have questions, you can consult. No problem. So I will share. Yes, Prabhu. No, I understand. So we will share. Where are you from? Lucknow. Okay, so we will share something in Uttar Pradesh only, right, for you, so you can visit that place.
Hare Krishna. Just one small comment in reply to Prabhuji's question about practicality. I was thinking, Prabhupada would often say the concept of Shreyas and Preyas, that we can consider short-term and long-term benefit. And now I have one kind of a doubt which I want to ask you. I'm finding a little confusing to reconcile the two things. In answer to Mataji's question about Jivamrit, you were mentioning about how this modern academics, they don't properly know the concepts, the overall picture. sometimes I get this thought whether should I pursue a MS in environment science or no. But then I also see you showed many videos from the experts, some soil expert in America. So we are using their technical expertise. At the same time, we know they don't know the overall picture. So I'm just trying to reconcile. My thing is, should somebody pursue an academic? Because see, we are not at all aware of these things from our family background or anything. We don't have any history of working with land or cows. This is the first time we are trying to do this, coming to Prabhupada's movement. So, but it's a science, it's a deep science, density and concepts are there to be learned. So should we pursue some academic course or degree in such a thing, part-time, not full-time, part-time, to get
Certainly yes.
best from them and then use our thing also?
Certainly yes. There are schools teaching regenerative farming. There are schools teaching grazing. You should certainly attend their courses. There is a Savory Institute. It's in America. They don't function here. But they have wonderful courses on this. There are so many institutes.
Because sometimes like you also said, means they don't know the things, actual things, but you were also mentioning to Mataji.
Yeah, but these institutes, they are following these principles. They are not doing otherwise. They are exactly doing this, what we are discussing. They will not teach you to do anything other than this. Because they have evolved from this. They were doing like there is one farmer, his name is Gabe Brown. He has 5,000 acres of land. He's in America. So he was doing industrial farming before, way back in 1993. Then he stopped doing that. He decided, no, I'm not going to use any tractor because anyhow they were losing money. So then he stopped using all the chemical fertilizers. Then he evolved to the next stage. He stopped using tractor. Then lastly in 2010, there is his video on YouTube, he integrated cows. And he says that after I integrated cows, the growth of the soil, which happened in last 17 years, I got in 3 years. So the 5 principles, what we studied of regenerative farming, that we have to follow. But method can be anything. So I am not against Jivamrita. If somebody wants to use it, it is good. But soil should be covered. We want living roots. We want water cycle to perform. We want mineral cycle to perform. We want all the species to have their natural habitat. That we want to ensure. If you are ensuring that, you decide your method. There is nothing wrong in doing your method. Absolutely fine. Because it will all vary from geographical areas. Depending on the climate you are in, there are so many dynamics in this. It's not like same thing is working everywhere. So how much we can gain more knowledge will be helpful. It's not that this is the final knowledge. There will be more to learn, who knows. Because when we started, we also didn't know the ecosystem processes. We started with cow grazing teaching first. And with that I became the cow minister. But then I kept studying, so now I learned this. But since last couple of years, we have stagnated now. So 4 ecosystem is what all the best of the people are speaking now. And there are so many models on this, that they are just trying to ensure that the ecosystem processes functions. There are so many books on this, Japanese, Australian, Europe, all people, even Indian. Shiva, what is that Mataji's name? Vandana Shiva, she also speaks on this. They are all speaking the same thing. So a lot of, whatever I have understood, but as you rightly said, I have not done any course, but doing a course is a very good idea. We should pursue a good course on this, no doubt about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
पीछे आपके
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yes, you can ask.
Yesterday you said something about, right, lazy intelligent. That really caught my attention. Like Prabhupada used to say, that Brahmana working on the field and grazing the cows is a Vaishya. So, and the whole point of any farm community project is to save the time for chanting Hare Krishna. So when I was there in Gokuldham, Belgaum, so there I had observed that the local farmers, they complete the whole task of, plowing the rice, grains, and then cutting, harvesting, drying up in just 10 days. Just 10 days. So just wanted to understand the model which you are sharing. Can you just give us the brief, time spent on the field, how much time one needs to spend. Of course, there is this aspect that regularly we need to graze the cows if we have the cows, but as you shared that you don't have a cow on your 6 acre of farm, so from your experience, the different models, can you just...
I mean, when I started my project in Ahmedabad, my personal project, with the project I purchased a Sankirtan van because I already had a realization that there will be not much to do. So if I don't go to villages to distribute books and do Sankirtan, then what will I do? It's as simple as that. But this is my understanding. So it depends on every individual, how we want to live, because we don't know how we'll be farming, because it will all vary, Prabhu. When we will start, only we'll come to know. We cannot give this 1 + 1 2 formula in this. This is very complex. Nature functions in a very complex and dynamic way. But all we know is, whatever situation we are in and we are executing our duties, they are not prescribed duties in the Shastra for any species. So we are just trying to shift our occupation to what is prescribed in the Shastras. And then it all depends on how much time you want to give. But as we learn, ecosystem is functioning under the direction of nature, not under our direction, right? So, but you have to work to harvest if you want to eat. Harvesting we have to do.
How a youngster can start this thing? Because when he come out of his education, he don't have anything in hand, no money, nothing. Then how he can start this thing? How to buy the land and everything?
Like how he does a job.
For the job, he can go to company work and that's all, right?
Similarly, he has to go to somebody who has land, because nobody wants to do farming. Land are idling there. I mean, if you have somebody sent to me, I have so much land to give them. Because land is always more, and people who want to work...
They ask that.
I understand your question, so I am answering it accordingly. That like they are looking for job in different companies, similarly they have to go to the farms to find a job. Ample opportunity, I am telling you. Because who want to farm? Nobody wants to do anything. So in my locality there, people have so much of land. But as you rightly said, they don't know how to farm. So if you have somebody who knows how to farm, there is an opportunity.
Okay.
And there will be always. Because as we see in the presentation, even the farmer's son doesn't want to farm now. Because they see it as a lot of hardship. And they see that they are losing money. So they are not encouraged enough to continue that family business. And they are migrating to cities for jobs. So if somebody who has studied in the city and he wants to go back to the village, there is ample opportunity.
Then it will be better, then we can make a community of youngsters who can be with somebody leading them and guiding them, and they can do this thing.
Certainly, yes. This can be one of our youth preaching model.
Yeah.
Giving them engagement, occupation, livelihood.
Because to start with, that's the main thing. Once you start, then you will be no problem.
Correct. Yeah, so very valid point. So this can be engaging youths.
Yeah. You have to show them the way that this can be possible this way.
Yeah.
Because human power is also very important. I mean, natural way of land.
Obviously, yes. We need people who will be managing.
Currency,
yes,
paper.
We want people to manage the farms, 100% we need. We are employing laborers otherwise. Somebody we are engaging to work. So if we have our community is very good, but if we don't have, then if we have some youth who is interested and inclined, he is welcome.
So somebody who's get a land, already having a land, may encourage youngsters together, take them together and then make some community and start this type of things.
Yeah, maybe our sir, he mentioned he has 500-acre land. Tell him to encourage youths.
Mataji also, I think. She's also. Aapka bhi some farms hai.
Government? All the so-called welfare schemes. Correct. So,
No, really speaking, this actually what we are talking about is doesn't have much labor to do. I mean, if you manage it properly, then you can easily stay with. I mean, the youngsters also need not
actually,
have to
there
do.
are institutions preaching this project, like Savory Institute is one of it. So they go to villages, and they have gone to many, many African villages where the people are really, really poor, and they've educated them with these principles. And like we make Naam Hatta leader, like they have made leaders who are taking care of villages and teaching them these principles right to the children's, and encouraging them to stay connected to the land and live their life. And they are very successful.
So that we have to bring it back.
So we have to bring it back, yes. So my point is, don't think that this is some revolutionary idea by Vishnunama Das. Don't think it like that. This has been practiced in the world heavily. Only because we are not connected to these points, we think that this is very revolutionary. Like chanting. Before we came in touch with chanting, we thought, oh Baba, kya hai? Who will chant? I'm an IIT student, why should I do this, But now we can't leave it because we are benefiting out of it. Same way, once you get this benefit out of this project, you will never stop it. Rather, you will start preaching it the way now we are distributing books. So somewhere we have to feel the advantage by practicing it. Without practicing, like describing the rasgulla and not allowing anybody eat, how will you taste the rasgulla? So if you want to have the taste, you have to eat it. You can't just keep talking about it in the classroom. So somewhere we have to start. There are innumerable questions which are unanswered because how much can we understand in theory? But once we enter in the field, when we are in the water, we learn to swim. So the first step is to jump in the water now. Sitting on the corner, we can't learn swimming, right? So without the land, we can't learn farming. Without keeping the cows, we can't serve the cows. So that's the first step. As a family, as a community, we have to decide that first now. Then further questions will be innumerable coming in our mind always. But this is the beginning.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Are we all interested in the break? It's 12:30 because then I have a 20-minute slide to show. एक आपका last question लेते हैं, फिर एक break लेंगे 10 मिनट का, and then we continue for 15 minutes and then finish. Yes.
During the presentation.
Sorry?
There was a remark during the presentation, like the cows should be fed with diversified grass. So how do we define that? The grass, what we understand, which naturally grows, or the grass again we have to do some human intervention and create more grasses?
Very good question. So when we start this process of following the ecosystem principle, you will see variety of species manifesting on your land. There are instances of 80 varieties growing in 1 square meter of land, 80 varieties. So seeds are there in the soil, but they are waiting to germinate once you give them a conducive environment. You don't have to put seeds are there. Abhi to barish girega. Everywhere things will start. Even if you don't put any seeds anywhere, still all the fields will be green. Where is it coming from? Seeds are always there. But with the continuous grazing exercise, successively every year on year, as the soil quality improves, the diversity of the fodder, the quality of the fodder, everything will improve. This will go on. We don't have to do much in that. Only our thing is to manage proper grazing. That is what we are supposed to do.
Very encouraging.
Sorry?
That's a very encouraging revelation that things happen on its own.
Yeah, because we are talking about no input. If you have to purchase seeds, then it is a cost to you, right?
And
This is what is called Purnam. Otherwise, how the creation is Purna? If you have to do so many things. Then we are talking it is Apurna.
And another thing, like 6 square meters you said for a cow in crawling.
Crawling 5 square meter, yeah.
5 square meters. Is there any empirical studies or just...
No. This is just from understanding by practical performing of the program. It can vary, like our cows are 400 kg. Somewhere the cows are 200 kg, it can be even less area. And if you feel that they are putting lot of dung, you can give them 10 square meter. There is no fixed standard. Once you start, you can evolve to your own standard. But because I have to suggest some step to start, so I have suggested. Like deep planting the tree at 12 square meter, but you can do at 20 square meter, it is your choice.
But then there was a mathematical calculation regarding 1/3 they will graze, the top 1/3, right? Ideally. And that much of tonnage is also required for them to feed.
So that is already documented. This is from the researches.
That is okay. But in that 6 square meter formula, does that math fit in?
No, that 6 square meter is not for grazing. That is for manuring. Nothing is grown on your land. When we are starting the project, there is nothing grown.
Crawling, you mean to say?
Crawling. So it is for manuring, putting dung and urine on the land. That is for that. Grazing is 75 square meter minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 will be nothing for grazing for them.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. So we take a break for 10 minutes. It's 12:35. We resume at 12:45. Hare Krishna. So I will try to finish in 15-20 minutes. And then we have some prasad for all of you. If you have time, please honor prasad before you leave. Can we start? Maybe this Prabhu is not back. Who is there? Okay. So, contextual decision making. So, as we have been discussing a context, and we want all our decisions to be in line with the context. So, this is some small tool. So first thing before you start a project is to articulate a context. Why you want to start a farm project. First you should be clear about that. Not as an individual, but also as a community. So all the stakeholders should be involved in the decision. Otherwise, there will be more challenges than we can even anticipate. So it is very, very important that whatever resources are available, whoever are the stakeholders, they are all involved in defining the context of the project. Otherwise, generally it is seen that we start a project to grow organic fruits and vegetables. But farm projects are not for that. It is much, much deeper, because we are to make a lifestyle for us and generations to come. That is the purpose, to give a quality life to us, to the fellow beings and to the coming generations. So the purpose has to be very clearly defined. So whenever you hold a meeting for your project, all the decisions should be cleared through the context you have put forward or the purpose you have decided. You can't deviate. Like Prabhupada started ISKCON and he gave 7 purposes of ISKCON. So whatever we do in ISKCON should be within those limits of purposes of ISKCON given by our founder Acharya. So the purpose has to be clear to all the stakeholders. So when anybody joins, he should be made clear to the purposes of the project. Because you will see that after 5 years, 10 years, many more people will come in. But we don't know with what intent they are coming in. So the purpose and the contextual clarity has to be given. So then they are clear that no, we can't separate the cow and the calf. So then they know that we are not here to disturb the soil, to till it. So that principle should be clear to anybody who joins. And why is he joining? All those things has to happen before that. And purpose can be refined also. Not that when you start with something, you might be thinking of everything. It might be possible that it needs some corrections. So when you will keep taking decisions, taking you towards your context, you will get some feedback from the system on its own. That will keep improvising your systems, your decision-making exercise, and gradually you will lead to a quality life which you are looking for, which is Krishna consciousness. So, in a nutshell, this is not that structured in a way, but as we discussed, the 4 things, social, economical, environmental and spiritual, all this should be simultaneously considered when we take any decision, and it should lead towards our context. That is what we are talking about. So this is a context for this presentation what we have discussed in last 3 days. Paradigms we have taken today. This is a Vedic paradigm. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. So the faith has to increase in the Purna. We have to develop that faith in the system given by the Lord, that it is independently sufficient to maintain all the species. You don't have to invent anything. That faith has to come, that consciousness shift has to come. So like this is from Bhagavad Gita, some translations taken from Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. Demonic paradigms influencing decision making. Text 8. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So this is demoniac thoughts. Following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, this is what we see now, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. This is what we are seeing today. Because they don't have faith in the Lord, they have understanding that there is no God in control, so they reach to this conclusion that, and they are doing such activities which are unbeneficial, horrible, and destroying the world. He who discards spiritual injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So, we are, in general, the society is not following the prescribed duty. They are just doing the things whimsically, challenging the system given by the Lord. So we see what we are seeing, they are not happy, they are struggling and they cannot achieve what they are trying to achieve, peace, happiness, satisfaction, good society, good community. We don't see that. One should therefore understand what is the duty and what is not the duty by regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. So this is what we are trying to do. These are some of the demonic paradigms existing today. Protein paradigm, farmer paradigm, we have discussed what current conventional farming is there. Germ theory, I don't know how many of us are aware of. Louis Pasteur was a scientist who found this germ theory. And before he left this world, he admitted that what he has done is wrong. His theory is baseless. But then that is not propagated much. So this germ theory is still very popular, that germs are causing a lot of problem in the society. Fertilizer paradigm we have discussed, pest paradigm we have discussed, weed, value-added product paradigm that we will cover today, some part of it. So these paradigms are against the whole. They are all human doing, not human being. They are blaming the situations. They are blaming the weather, politics, family, seasons. Otherwise, we should see all as resources. So we need a shift of paradigm. This is again from Bhagavad Gita. Eating should be viewed as a spiritual act. How you select to eat is connected to the environment. So we are discussing this because this has a lot of relevance. And this is for us to understand that wherever we are on the planet, whether on the land or in the city, whether we are farming or not farming, we are playing a very major role in the decision of anybody who is farming on his land. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, text 8. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increases the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. So this is what defined as food in the mode of goodness. So here there is no value addition talked about. In other words, this food in the mode of goodness comes from the farm, which ensures the four systems of ecosystem are followed. Any produce coming from the farming system which ensures this four ecosystem process can only give you food in the mode of goodness. So it ensures health, happiness, and satisfaction. And this is covered in our context. This is one of our context. We want good health, we want happiness, we want satisfaction. So what is covered here is fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts. So when we speak nut, it is not dry fruits, it is like coconut or things which are growing things, Dry fruit is again a processed thing. Something has grown, we are drying it and then consuming it. So this is not what it is. Second sloka, 17.9. Food that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such food cause distress, misery, and disease. So what we are eating is a decision we are taking every day, right? So if we are not healthy, if we have diseases, we have to blame our decision to eat the wrong food. So processing or value addition leads to monoculture, as I was discussing yesterday, because we wanted to eat biscuits, we wanted to eat breads. So the farmers were encouraged to do monoculture farming for wheat. Because now we want bottled juices, so there are monoculture farming of lemon gardens. So monoculture farming got pushed off because we started supporting factory value-added products as a consumer. So if as a consumer we decide to consume only produce, then we are supporting farms in a big way. And we are shifting our consciousness from eating food in the mode of passion and ignorance to food in the mode of goodness. So when they are doing monoculture, 4 ecosystems are affected. That means we are not considering all the 4 parameters of decision making simultaneously. So when you are supporting something which is coming from factory, that means you are damaging the environment. We have to think it like this now. That shift has to come. Otherwise, we can't support our context. Then it is a non-contextual decision. So here we have done dried foods, all spicy, and so whatever is available in the supermarket in a packed form is all value-added product. It's a product, it is not a produce. To stay healthy, we have to consume produce. If we consume products, disease, misery, and distress. And if we consume produce, we will stay healthy, long life, satisfying life. 17.10. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. So if we are consuming such things, we can't talk health. So food which is more than 3 hours before eating, which is cooked more than 3 hours. So jaggery is a photo given here. So jaggery is a cooked food actually. When you make jaggery, you need sugarcane juice, you have to cook it, and then it converts into jaggery. So it has to be consumed in 3 hours. Otherwise it becomes food in the mode of ignorance, as per the definition of Bhagavad Gita. So it's a decision. We are eating for health or we are eating for taste. So Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita that food has only 2 purposes, in this purport only, 17.10. To get good health and long life. That is the function of food. And it is a spiritual act we are doing because we are recycling the produce by eating it. It has to be viewed like that. So this is just a small beginning we all can do to start supporting farming projects from today onwards. If we take a decision like that, that we should survive on produce, not on products. At least we will stay healthy. We will start contributing to the environment positively. Similarly, there is shlokas for charity and Yuktahara Vihara, we all know this. So this man is sitting on the branch, so we don't want to cut on the branch we are sitting on. So let your paradigm that influence your decision to select a lifestyle not lead to directly or indirectly adversely affecting the 4 ecosystem services. So we are talking about food because this is we are consuming every single day. So we should take a decision which directly or indirectly should not impact the ecosystem processes. All decisions we make in our life shall have its social, economical, environmental consequences if it is not in line with our context. Thank you. So it's 1 o'clock. We have finished right on time. So now if we have any questions, we can take. We had a good time, 40 minutes for question answer, but still, if you have more, we can discuss. As I said, we will continue that WhatsApp group. If you want to be part of it, you can stay. And if you have any question, you can keep asking. Yes, Prabhu. Processed, yes, yes. Same thing. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my God. You are bang on target.
So
100%. No doubt about it. So, traditionally, there was this hand grinding machines in the Indian culture. And the reason was, there was a Prabhupada quote some months back in the morning meditation. It keeps the woman healthy because she works on it. And she does only for a day. So, when the wheat or any grain is converted into flour, it remains alkaline only for 24 hours. After that it becomes acidic. So it has no advantage of eating that. So they used to have freshly grounded flour. But now because nobody wants to do this work and the machines are there, so we have been used to this practice of storing it for a longer period of time, so they have to add some preservatives. Certainly it is a processed food, so it doesn't give you anything. It's a dead food, so nobody is coming to eat that. The other life forms are more intelligent than us in a way. So it is not healthy. But we are long away from these practices now, so it is difficult to comprehend even what it means for most of us. Cows love grass. They want pasturing fields. This is what the whole discussion was. The only natural food for them is grass. Not jaggery, not grains. Jaggery is in the mode of ignorance. Yes? Sorry? It is not for them. But because they are hungry, whatever you give, they are eating. But if they get grass, that is their first choice. Every year it is happening. Every year in all the places where cows are kept, restricted and they are overfed this jaggery, they will die. There is no doubt. Moderately, 1 or 2 laddus goes to each cow is okay. But they can't be maintained only on jaggery. It's poison for them. It is not a produce. So we are going against the principle of nature. More questions here you wanted to ask?
Prabhu, just, okay, as per Shastra, whatever you said, it is accepted.
Thank you.
We accept that one. The only thing is what we are using here in ashram, like the prasadam hall, whatever we are using the raw material, which is as per the Shastra or?
What does it has to do with our lifestyle? If you are living at home, you have to look into your management system. We have to be introspective. So like I am staying on this property, I am serving here full day. So I know what I should eat from the Shastra. Like I keep quoting this example of morning program because that's hitting us hard. We are all supposed to wake up in the Brahma Murta, chant our 16 rounds, but still it is struggling after, if I talk about 25 years of Krishna consciousness life. So if you follow the principles, practicing Krishna consciousness becomes very easy for you. And our purpose of life is to become Krishna conscious ourselves.
My question was like, that what is telling Prabhuji this.
I understand your question and I am answering that. We can't be controlling the ashram system. This is my answer now clearly. We can control our house, but yes. Because it's a community, it's a lot of education required to change a situation in community. But in the house we are 4 members. Like my house we have changed. So my mother was taking blood pressure pills for so many years. Now she is not taking anymore. But a common paradigm is once you have blood pressure, you can't stop those pills. It grows with your life. But just changing to the correct principles, she is off all the medicines. So we have to be introspecting what we are doing, and then it is contagious. When you follow, the whole ashram will start following.
The second question is like a jaggery. You mentioned that it is using after 3 hours, it's a poisonous. So, but we are very often we are using for the bhogas and all. When we make a chapan bhog and all.
This is what I told you.
So it's many.
It is difficult to change the community decision. It is easy to change our decision. But the principle says that anything which is, I have not said, it is written in Bhagavad Gita as it is translation, that anything which is cooked 3 hours prior cannot be used for consuming. It is given in Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? So it is not my statement, it is from Bhagavad Gita. It's a principle. If you will follow the principle, you will benefit. If you will not follow, you will be suffering. Produce means coming from the land or cows. How can you call it something coming from the factory as produce? You have to cook it and use it. Cook now, make jaggery and use it. Why you want to store it? Because it is easy, no? Purchasing from the factory is easy. But you should cook for the Lord and then use it. What is the problem? No problem. That's so following principles is not easy as we are feeling now, right? But if you will follow, you will benefit. We are going to benefit, nobody else. If I follow, I will benefit. If he follow, he will benefit. But if he is not following and I will not follow, that doesn't make sense for our life, right? But as we are discussing from the beginning, monkey mindset, these are like that. Because since the time we have taken birth, we have been educated that this is the most healthy thing to eat. Most of us have learned this. I am from Gujarat. Every single item on the plate has jaggery. Not every meal, but every single item on the plate. Dal, sabji, and if not that, they will eat it. Just raw jaggery.
Honey also falls in that category?
Honey is a produce. Honey is a produce. Actually, honey is not meant for our consumption. It is having medicinal properties. So all these things should be used only as a medicinal property if prescribed by Ayurveda. It is not a food. Rose tea we are making tea and adding honey to that. That is not good. Because that poor bee is struggling so much to make her habitat. And we are just accepting it just for taste. For our taste, Krishna has given fruits. That is real honey for us. Yes. Yes. So only after it is excess we can take. This is what we discussed. After the calf is fully satisfied, we can take. Because the soil is degraded. That is the answer. Because the soil is not in good health, the grass we are getting is not having enough nutrient to generate enough milk for the calf. So despite of defining this white product as milk, we are not getting health. And the purpose of eating, as we discussed today, is just health and good life, long life, nothing else. Just a propaganda can't give you good health. If somebody is making a propaganda, doodh pijiye or healthy baniye, it will not make you healthy. Yes, thank you very much. So the beginning is to make the soil healthy. That is the beginning. Sooner we start, better is for our generations to come. Self, janma sarthak kari kara paropkar. First we have to beginning from ourselves. We can't think to change the world and not change ourselves. Not going to happen. Change yourself, the world will change for you. Sorry? Thank you. Yes, here. ऐसे सुनाई दे रहा है सबको बोल सकते हैं इनको. So how long we want to go? It's 1:10. I don't want to hold everybody here. There is some prasadam for all of us behind. Maybe we can take some prasadam, come here, keep eating and keep discussing. That works better? Right? Please, because it will go to... You can ask your questions. People will be listening anyhow.
Jaggery is a surprise actually for me. For these 4 hours we were following. We don't take biscuits. We were okay with this 4 ghante ke baad nahi khana hai. But sugar we were not into it. But jaggery is a surprise for me. So I think you are taking away the sweet tooth away from all of us. No jaggery, no honey. So how?
Krishna is the real sweetener. Krishna is sweet, the holy name. Till the time we taste the sweetness of the holy name, we can't understand what is sweet.
I know we can, but...
This is what Shastra says. But we have many things. You can have sugar cane, you can have dates.
Yes.
They are very sweet.
Yes.
You have the sweets like this today. We have a sweet which is from dates.
This sugar cane one is popular. We make pongal out of sugarcane juice only.
See?
We don't. It's been practiced.
It was there in the tradition. I am telling you.
There in South India, we prepare direct from sugarcane.
It is there in the tradition, but now it is going out.
So it's a big shock. Sugarcane is processed.
So you have more.
I was so happy that in Vrindavan you can buy milk that is ahimsa milk, that the cows, they won't be killed at least. Because in the West it doesn't exist, so very difficult to find. But actually, it looks like from your presentation, even the milk of Vrindavan may not be so beneficial actually.
Yeah, because if the cow is not happy, if the calf is not happy, and the milk is coming from there, how will you get that advantage of being happy? Just because somebody is telling?
Yeah.
So,
but Srila Prabhupada, still knowing that this milk is not of good quality, was still telling his disciple, you should have milk still.
Thank you to Krishna that this question came. I was waiting for this. Why nobody is asking that Srila Prabhupada was drinking milk? He allowed us to. Yes, he allowed us. Because he was preaching to a category of audience which were much more into wine, beef, much down there. So he was transiting them, and then before he left this world, he said 50% of my work is left.
Yes,
and that was about farm community projects. So we have to accept the word of Srila Prabhupada and start working on this. He wanted every temple to have a successful farm. That also he said. So we can't just be accepting one part of his instruction, right? So, but what you said is good. So even if we are consuming certain things, which now seemingly appears to be a wrong decision, we should start working on the righter direction and gradually transit. If we cannot leave it right away. But that transition has to come.
So does it mean that it's better not to drink any milk as long as you don't have the proper one?
I mean, this is what I understood, that till the time the calf is fully satisfied, even if we take that milk, what will we gain in that? Because it is coming from a stressed cow. She is in a super stress, being separated from the calf.
And this is also the case in Vraj, even in Vraj.
Everywhere in the world.
In the world.
Everywhere. Let me put it, what is the purpose of drinking milk? Tell me that.
Of taking
As per Srimad Bhagavatam.
Of milk. The milk is a miracle food, like I read, and it helps human being to develop the qualities in the mode of goodness, and it helps memory also to develop, and good intelligence for becoming Krishna conscious. Okay, this is
the most important point, to become Krishna conscious.
Yes.
So, when these Shastras were written, what was the system on the planet? There were no factory farming. Srila Prabhupada writes that every householder was having cow as a household paraphernalia. So, they could have that privilege after serving the cows. But now what we see is, whatever we want is just the end result. We don't want to do the service part. So we cannot get that advantage or that privilege of developing the finer tissues of the brain, remaining healthy, nectar food or wholesome food, because we are not serving the cows accordingly. The way it used to be served, we are reading in the Shastra, Krishna was grazing, even at the time of Yudhishthira Maharaj the grazing was going on. But we have to go to those principles now. We cannot just keep struggling that there is not enough resources, how will we do? This won't work. We are again cutting the branch on which we are sitting. If as a community we have constructed so many temples around the world, because we desire to make these temples for the Lord. Similarly, if we have a desire to create a farm, we will get land. But we have never desired to do that. That desire has to come now. Making temples is not easy, right? Anybody who is in the community who has constructed a temple, you know what it means. 40, 50 crores, 100 crore of rupees you have to raise. With that, how much land can we buy? Thousands of acres of land can be purchased with this money. But because we had never thought cow protection program as a program of grazing and developing the soil, so we never tried to do that. So we are just operating from the understanding we had. But if our understanding has changed, if we think that this is something better, then we should shift to this. Abhi le lijiye. You have been working more than me. Yes. So don't ask any question on the food you are eating, okay? Right? Land is no scarcity. Enough land is available. No. I mean, individually also we can buy land. Right now devotees are buying houses in Vrindavan. So many devotees are buying houses. Why not we decide to buy land? And if we have, say, for example, 10 devotees interested, that group of 10 devotees can buy collectively someplace. They own their individual plot of land and the project can run collectively. That is also possible.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Where? Okay.
प्रभु जी, आज के समय में काफ़ी लोग जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड सीड्स यूज़ करते हैं फार्मिंग के लिए।
Yes.
तो मतलब वो क्या सही है यूज़ करना फार्मिंग के लिए, या फिर हम लोग जो देसी हमारी सीड्स थी इसके ऊपर ज़्यादा वर्क करें?
Okay. So, very good question. His question is, many farmers are using genetically modified seeds. So is it good or we should use, he is using the word deshi, right?
Yes.
Or should we use the local seeds? So we have discussed it today. Like we didn't like the crossbred cows. Yesterday we were discussing crossbred. So genetically modified seeds means they are crossbred seeds. Because we want more production from the wheat, we want more flour. The fiber content is less. In today wheat, if you will see, the fiber content of the wheat has gone down. So because we took a decision to have more production of the flour, we got into the business of modifying it genetically. So it is certainly not natural process. We should stick to the local seeds.
तो देसी बीट के लिए कोई बैंक है जहाँ पे हम इन सब चीज़ों के लिए?
It has to be searched locally. Because if there is a bank, it would be local to some place. It will not be local to your land. So for example, if you are in Uttar Pradesh, you have to look around in your near vicinity. You will find local seeds very easily.
Okay.
Believe in the concept of Purna. This creation is Purna. Nothing is going to go away from here. So don't assume that deshi seeds khatam ho gaye hain abhi. Deshi seeds are existing, they will keep existing.
But Prabhuji, it is very rare to find this.
Because we have never tried to find it, Prabhu. Our hankeringness to find is not enough. That is why it has become rare. I mean, how many of us are farmer? But when I started my project, I was visiting every day nearby villages and I was collecting 2-3 seeds every day of different species. Somebody would have some fruits, somebody have some vegetables, somebody would have some grain. You will not find all seeds from one farmer because they are all growing commercially. But if you keep meeting people, you will find a couple of seeds from each of them very easily. I mean, 1 month I collected at least 30-40 varieties. But we have to go, we have to meet people. It's a lot of work to do that. But this bank business was also there. And one person who was making this bank in Gujarat, he told me that I have deshi seeds, but I will not give you because you are from a different area. So you visit the local farmer. I was exactly thinking like you. But he explained me, deshi seeds means local to your land, not local to India. There is nothing local to India. Local means just to your limited area because people were not migrating at that time.
Yes,
Think that situation, there were no vehicles. People were just taking birth on their land and leaving their body there. They were hardly moving in 30, 40, 50 kilometers maybe, not more than that. So that is deshi for you. That is local for you, not something from other state or other district. It has to be seen like that. If you are interested in collecting unmodified seeds or local seeds, then you should do a research around your area, and I think in 40, 50 kilometers you will get enough variety. Comfortably.
Hare Krishna.
Because all farmers cannot afford this purchasing of seeds even. Many are still growing from their seeds. They are very poor. So they will provide you that. These farmers are generally very small. Some small acre of land or two they are having, they would have those seeds. This is what this person advised me. That go to small farmers, they will give you. Don't go to big farmers, because big farmers are purchasing GMOs. They are doing that. Genetically modified seeds. Thank you. ठीक है, I think we all take prasadam peacefully. You have a question? Yeah, I will take. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for patient hearing of long hours. 3 hours a day is not easy after the morning program. But it was very encouraging for me to be with all of you. And it was a very good audience to have you all. And good learning from me also with your different questions. When we discuss these views, we also learn a lot. Because I myself is not that super expert in the subject, but I am also learning. And it was a good learning for me, talking to you all. Thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. And yes, this prasadam arrangement was suggested to me by His Grace Panchagauda Prabhu. Yesterday I was speaking to him. He said, "What are you feeding them?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "You are miser." So he said, "No, you should feed them." And then, so I thought,